All right, what are we talking about?
I'll tell you what we're talking about, Rob, because we're going to have a fucking episode mostly about testing and mostly about, like, the stuff. And Everett's going to say we talk in practice. But what also is going to happen is every shithead is going to be like, remember when you said Mav was going to win all the races? And then, like, they're going to be like, is Maverick going to win the 2017-18 testing championship again? All you motherfuckers, seriously. A huge portion of my whole thing was based on the girlfriend. Remember, I used to bring this up a bunch, and then fucking Bossum's the one who spilled the beans that they broke up. And I'm like, what? But hold on. I got a whole plan here. Because, see, look, we all love Dovey, but I'm not sure he can get it done. Maverick proved that when shit was going good, he had the bike he liked, he had the team he liked, and he had the chick that he liked, but the world champion chick that he liked who could call him on his shit and keep him focused, he wins 3 out of the first 5 races and he's dope. Then they break up and he hooks up with this basic bitch who's just kind of hot. They start their Instagram account. They got this dog's account. The dog... Did you guys see his stories 3 days ago? She was filming him playing video games. That bitch has his phone and his Instagram login, right? They might as well have a joint Facebook account. That bro is so fucking pussy whipped. There is not even a category for it anymore. But Everett, I got a plan. Because here's what we need to do. I'm going to catfish the fuck out of Maverick Vinales.
Catfish.
So, like, catfishing all day long, bro. Because what we need to do is we need to start a fake account, like, with some hot chicks, like, pictures and spreads. We got 16,000 people on Facebook. We got 17,000 people on Instagram. We start this page, and, like, a couple of those people like it. We get her like 2,000 friends. We get a backstory, and then Carl gets us Mav's phone number, and I accidentally text Mav from this girl, whatever the fuck her name is, Veronica, right? Because Veronica is like a total skank that would steal her. And then I get the rapport going because I'm quick and I'm fast and I know exactly what dudes want to hear and this and that because like, I was a player back in the day, so I know back and forth about texting with chicks, and I catfish the fuck out of Mav. I get Mav to fucking dump whatever this skank's name is, right? He dumps her. He's in love with me. He's as in love with me as Marquez is with his brother, except Sam's the herps on the lips.
Damn.
Okay.
Skanks.
Right, skanks, right? Sluts. And so I catfish Maverick Vinales, and we all know, right? Everyone on our fucking page knows. And then we fucking dump him. Catfished him, dumped him, and he's gotta go into the back of the arms of Kiara, right? She's his stone, his fucking rock, his foundation. She's well over fucking Scott Redding at this point because, as one of our Instagram people said, Scott Redding can't think past the next word that he's saying. Like, the dude ain't quick, you know what I mean? Like, he is not exactly the smartest dude that's in that paddock, you know? So, she's already long done with Redding, because Redding's just her, like, he's tall and he's tatted and stuff, so he's like the opposite of Vinales. She's done. She's ready to take him back. Maverick is crushed, because he's been catfished like a mofo. I mean, a 36-year-old dude had him sending dick pics to him. I would just... like finding random naked chicks on Tumblr and sending it back. This isn't even hard. I'm going to do this like tomorrow. Carl gets us the number and we start the whole thing. It's an accidental text and it's just accidental, but it's kind of fate and I'm funny. And then all of a sudden, like, there's this rapport. I feel like I've known you forever, man. I've known you for so long, blah, 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 blah. And then we fucking drop him like a bad habit. He's back in the arms of Kiara. Kiara lets him know that what he needs to do is buckle down and win the title, because that's what he's for. None of this fucking around with dogs and fucking shared Instagram accounts and shit. And that's how we take down the T1000. Not through time travel and not through, like, rule changes that fuck everything up. We do it the old school way. We pretend to be a chick and get dick pics.
I like it. You know what? I will call that a master plan.
Yes, that's our master plan. Someone's got to do it. I mean, Maverick's the instrument, but I'm like fucking like Jesus of catfishing. Like, he's the chosen one, but I have to fucking, put the plan in action.
So Kev, like I think you gotta time it well, right? Because you don't want to catfish him or you don't want to have this ready to go during winter testing. Like, I feel like you gotta wait until like the middle of the season.
No. we have to make, because look, if the chick's Facebook account shows like it was started yesterday, it's going to look fishy. But if I start it now and it's been up for like 4 months, then he asks me, how come your Facebook's kind of new? And then I'll say, well, what Veronica will say is she had kind of a fucking overly aggressive, like sketchy-ass boyfriend who wouldn't let her go and she had to start a new account on the sly. And that's why I've got lots of friends and lots of interaction, but it's like kind of new because the last boyfriend I had was a little too much, and so she's kind of wounded too, and that's when we just swoop in. It's like a tangled web I weave. I'm like a Black Widow. He's coming in. I'm going to cut his head off.
Damn,
but
dude,
see, that's the thing though, is what I want to know is when you're actually going to get him to dump Kiara, because he needs to be with her.
No, he doesn't need
like
to dump
dump Veronica, or get dropped by Veronica so that he's with Kiara for like a large portion of the season, right? Because we want her powers to be influencing him, like, towards the latter half of the season to win the fucking title.
Right, so I need to dump him so he gets back with, he's devastated. He has a couple of bad races. Kiara's there to console him because she's the only one that really understands him. You know what I'm saying? She was there before he got big, so she knows what it's about. She was there when he was a lowly Moto 2 rider. No one fucking likes Moto 2 riders.
No.
Fucking
oh,
no
wait.
one.
Wait.
I mean?
I know what's going to happen. Veronica is going to get an invite to Coda, and that's when you got to dump him.
Right. I mean, here's the other thing. You're telling me we don't have, like, any chick fans on our Facebook, Instagram page that can just pretend to be Veronica? They can show up and look totally different and be like, no, I was catfishing you. That way he doesn't realize he sent dick pics to a dude. You know what I mean? Like, and then she just like, I don't look anything like I said. I was actually just kind of fucking with you, and like, here's my boyfriend, but it'll be me. So I'll know. And then he'll look at me, and then they'll exchange the glance, and he'll know. He'll know.
Oh, that'd be great.
Kev, you're gonna end up on Dr. Phil with this shit.
What? Fuck, whatever.
Maury.
I gotta do. Someone has to win this title back from Marquez, and right now it sure as hell ain't gonna be anyone on the grid. So it's gotta be me. It's gonna be me. I'm gonna beat them at their own game by catfishing the fuck out of them.
All right. I like your plan, Kev. All right, let's...
Right, so anyway, everyone, real quick before we start, that means that when we start the fake Veronica account, like, she'll have pictures from up above. Like, she's not going to be super slutty, but some of those pictures will show a little bit low cut on that fucking shirt. You know what I'm saying? We're going to trick him. You all got to be on board. This is like 10,000 strong. This is what it's going to take to defeat Marc Marquez, because it sure as fuck ain't Crashing or Gravity or Valentino or Ducati. So we're going to band together. We're going to do what needs to be done, and we're going to fully catfish the shit out of this guy.
Yeah, actually, we need now like 15,000 people to be on board with this. So get on top of that, fucking fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we don't want her to have 15,000 friends. That's too much. Then she looks like she's friend obsessed.
I just mean the
18,
15...
like
Friend
we need like 1,700, right? Because she's gonna be like 24. So she's had friends for a while. She's been online since she was like 13. So it's like all her old friends too. She bounced around a lot. Maybe her dad was in the military, and that's why she's got like some people in Dubai and some people in East Asia, some people in America, some people in Germany. Because she was an army brat, and she knows what it's like, Mav, to be on the road all the time, to never meet people and have close relationships and close friendships. Veronica knows what it means to like see that spark and know that you can't let go of it. You can never let go, because once you let go, it's gone. It's like in the effervescence. It's done. It's like trying to grab the Northern Lights. You can't do it. You can only see it.
I can't even tell anymore where your like pre-planning ended and where you're just spitting this out on the fly, because this is fucking gold. It's totally gonna work too.
It's gonna work. We're gonna win the title, and they're gonna put me up on that podium, and where they give this. Everyone in the FMI gets the exact same medal. So the dude who won the World's Trials competition gets the same medal as Mir, who gets the same medal as a fucking Maverick or Marc Marquez, which is weird.
This just goes to show me how insane Kevin is, because this is some real nutty shit right here. He stays up awake at night instead of sleeping thinking about this shit.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but it's for a good
Strong.
cause.
I do not
to
deny
save
it.
the MotoGP World title. It is
It
to
is
save
true.
the MotoGP World title. So we got to give mad props for that one. And
So
honestly, I think it's going to work.
It's so we can
You're
keep street cred. Get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were,
exactly.
Kev, somehow you are very in tune with being a 24-year-old girl on the internet. But
Well, I gotta do what I gotta do. You know, I gotta do my research. I'm saying. You know?
God damn it.
guy.
All right, all you listeners, be on board with this. Don't fucking blow it for us. Don't tell Maverick that he's going to get catfished. Don't tell him.
Right.
What if he listens?
That's a massive hole in my plan. That's a massive
It's
hole.
the
in
risk
my
we're
plan.
willing to take, right?
Is this a risk we're willing to take? Maverick,
tell-
if you're listening right now, what we're saying is you were the fucking chosen one. You were supposed to bring balance to the force, dog, not turn it to the dark side. And now you're shacked up with some skank who's like not even that hot. I mean, she's hot, but she's not even like she's not hot enough to like turn your whole life upside down, bro. Jesus fuck. I mean, that Kiara girl, we saw her at the FMI Awards. She cleans up pretty good.
Do you mean to say FIM?
Whatever, I don't know. Who cares?
FMI, FI,
FMI.
something. Who
I
fucking
don't know.
cares?
Right. Who fucking
What is
cares?
that
Let's start
anyway,
this episode, Rob. Rob, if you're gonna keep letting me talk, I'm gonna go for a while.
No, all right, we're gonna actually start the episode now.
Hashtag Project Catfish.
Welcome to Brody GP. This is episode number 79. It is our first off-season test of the. Is this the 2017 winter? That counts, right? It's still 2017.
2017,
counts.
2018.
Yeah, it's the 2018 preseason, even though it's still in 2017. As you already heard, Kevin is on the phone.
Yo, yo. Actually,
He's-
Veronica's on the phone. Hey, guys.
Hi, girl.
Please don't do that every episode.
I won't. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Everett is here too.
What up?
We lost Dennis because he is watching a racing series that shall not be named. Yeah, he may come back eventually. What else do we got to do? Oh yeah, of course. I am not forgetting it this time. This episode is brought to you by Riders Law. Because
Yay.
last time I was fucking exhausted from hanging out with Riders Law the whole weekend, and I legit forgot to talk about them because I couldn't read the syllabus or the schedule that I'm not supposed to talk about. But we're doing it now. So Riders Law,
Yes.
they're of course your California motorcycle accident injury lawyers. If you need any legal help whatsoever, especially if you're in the state of California, but even if you're not, if you need help talking with your insurance after an accident, if you need help because you got run fucking over and you have some injuries and you need to get those hospital bills taken care of, please give Riders Law a call. Call Cy and lawyer Rob down at Riders Law. They are amazing lawyers. They will help you out. They will help us out. They will help out racing in general in the United States. So it's good for everyone. So, yeah, definitely give them a call. Check out their website at riderslaw.com, and that's Riderslaw with a Z.
Those motherfuckers have been on board with us since, like, day one when we had, like, 8 listeners. You know what I mean? He's like, how many listens you get per episode? We're like, 12. He's like, fucking shit. Let's do it. You know?
That was a long time ago. This is
no doubt.
We're coming up on our third season or our fourth season now.
Knee deep in.
Yeah, seriously.
So-
I mean, we're going to get to
Exactly.
100 episodes
And
middle
now
of next
he's
season.
supporting me committing identity fraud to manufacture MotoGP World Championships. Basically, Cy and I are international identity thieves.
I'd have to assume he's completely on board with that.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Sounds right up his alley.
So,
Yeah,
because
right.
I feel like the episode right after Maverick wins the title, we would just attribute the entire title to Riders Law, right?
Right.
Like it's
Correct.
totally worth it on his part.
So sweet.
Yeah. Right? But all right, we are in the off season.
There's actual motorcycle shit happened.
Yeah, should we talk about it now?
You know what I want to talk about the most though is like Okay, Ev, last year, like, hell of people switched, right? And there was dope-ass liveries. That's right. The return of liveries. Oh, the fucking Iannone one and the Maverick one. It was... The biggest letdown is no one had, like, everyone's so fucking serious about it now. No one had, like, sweet paint schemes. No one had, like, special one-off liveries. No one of any consequence switched. And the people who did switch weren't, like... interested in, like, having a cool, fun time on the side with it. Like, fuck, man, Jack Miller couldn't get a white bike with a fucking Aussie flag on it, like, you know, like Stoner did. The whole letdown, like, Dorna stole my money by not asking me if I wanted to fucking re-up. They just charged my card. Those fucking assholes.
Which we'll talk about later.
Right. And I didn't even get to see any cool shit. Like, yeah, there was a test, but, like, if they're all black bikes and no one's doing anything cool, like, fuck.
I mean, the coolest thing visually was the new Yamaha winglets, which Ducati straight up said, like, hey, how are these fucking legal? Like, and the
right.
winglets aren't, right? Right? It's exactly what
right.
we said before. It's now just a winglet with 2 attachment points and a big hole to get something stuck in. Maybe the Yamaha ones weren't small enough to put your fist through, which was kind of nice. But,
yep. A big hole to get something stuck in to put your fist through? You're talking like Veronica, man. Fuck.
Oh, boy. And so it begins.
Yeah, I mean, the best part is like, yeah, Ducati said, like, if those are legal, how are our wings from last year not? And then I post this thing on Instagram, and all the dipshits are like, well, it's just testing. It doesn't have to be legal. But if the whole reason for making them illegal was safety, that means, like Valentino can't just put a flamethrower on the front of his bike and turn it on and ride around track. And be like, well, it's not a race, so who fucking cares?
Actually, Valentino Rossi can do whatever the fuck he wants. But
correct, yes. Correct.
Anybody else cannot do that.
Let me reiterate. Tito Rabat cannot stick a chainsaw on the back of his bike, turn it on, and then ride around the track just because it's testing. If the whole point was twofold, one, it's too dangerous, then they can't be on the track, and if 2, it costs too much money, why are we letting them on the track to further expense development? I mean, what's going on here? Like, it was literally just because British dudes didn't like how they looked.
And somehow, it was literally that. Somehow the British dude convinced the Japanese factory of HRC to go along with it.
Right.
I don't know how that happened. Nakamoto-san really listened to them for some reason before he retired. And got winglets tossed out.
Got him tossed out. Yeah, I mean, they just didn't want to do it because it wasn't part of the spirit of the rules. But, like, that's the problem. No one gives a fuck about the spirit of the rules.
Well, only
Show me
HRC
the rules
does.
so I can get around them. Right. And the only reason they get away with that shit is because of Marquez. I mean, if it wasn't for Marquez, Danny would have 2 wins, Cal would have none, and the satellite bikes would suck, and they would be a la 2007, 2008, where, like, the Honda was basically irrelevant. If it literally wasn't for Marquez.
I mean, and we kind of saw that in the test, too, right? Like, Marquez led the whole way, pretty much on... He didn't lead both days, but he finally had the fastest time on the second day. And then, Danny Pedrosa ended up getting 4th, but was pretty much nowhere on day 1?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember because it's been so long, and we talking about practice. But I mean, here's the thing: ain't no one interested in how fast Danny was on a Honda again in the factory Honda for the 10th straight year or whatever it is. It's just like, fucking kill me already. Give me something interesting. The whole point of paying to see the tests and to watch these things is speculation it's to fucking get us through. It's one last massive black tar heroin shot. I'm hoping I don't OD and that this high lasts at least a little longer than I expect, because the winter is fucking dark and long and the night is full of terrors.
Well, it kind of got us. It got us about 2 weeks until the Jerez test, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, right. I'm trying to take after Dennis there. I don't know. Like, everyone at HRC and even Danny pretty much said that Danny wasn't going to have as many troubles as he did this year to, like, get the tires up to temp and to find optimal setup. Like, are we cool with him winning more than 2 races next year? Is it going to make the championship more exciting?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. We went over this before. Like, he was Mr. Irrelevant, like, to the title hunt. You know, we kind of broke that down a couple episodes ago about how even when he won, it was sort of in an irrelevant time to win where it made no real effect on it. I like Danny. I've come, he's certainly grown on me over the years, but it's just like at some point, like Everett will say, like, we just want to see someone on it that's at least going to do, like, it's going to jazz me, like Zarco or who the fuck ever, because we know what Danny's going to do. Win a couple races, even if he wins 4 or 5 or 6, it's going to be like weirdly irrelevant somehow because Marquez will be the only other guy. He'll only have to finish second the last 5 races, just like in 2012.
The only person we do not want on that bike is Alex Marquez.
Fucking Herbie Marquez? God dang.
The Herb.
You'd rather see Pedrosa be there for like another 6 years than Alex Marquez on the bike?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, that's, I mean...
Yes.
If
Kevin's, yep.
Like, if there's one thing we can all unite behind other than Veronica, it's that, please, for the love of God, don't put Alex Marquez on the Repsol bike.
Yeah, but it's going to happen. Like, you just got to accept it. We know it's coming. Like...
Yeah, title Rob sex tape. You just got to accept that you know it's coming.
It's coming. It's not the going, it's the coming.
I forgot. I missed these for 2 weeks. I missed those for 2 weeks.
Yes, you did.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Alex Marquez got to test. They put him on it because Luthie's hurt. That shit's a conspiracy, too. You know what I mean? And they stick him on the bike, and they're like, well, who else do we test? I don't know. Or not a rookie who can't offer any actual feedback. It would have been better to have the test rider test and help Mark VDS actually know what they're supposed to do. Because clearly, based on Jack Miller and Tito Rat's performance on shitty-ass, year-old Ducatis, Mark VDS don't know what the fuck they doing. I mean, at all.
Yeah, so we've talked about that before too, right? It takes a lot of technical expertise to set up the motorcycle, to even to build your team. And Mark VDS, they just haven't really had it. Like, you'd think that they'd be getting some HRC support, but we're talking HRC. This is not Ducati, where they actually give technical expertise, especially on the electronics, to their satellite teams. Like, I don't know why Mark VDS ever came into MotoGP and thought, oh, hey, this is going to work out great for us. We can totally set this bike up and do just as well as we've done in the other classes. Like, it's the teams are always fooled. They get honeypotted by fucking HRC all the fucking time.
Right, like, this isn't 2004 where HRC is giving legit factory bikes to the satellite teams. You know what I'm saying? Like 2004, 2005, 2006, where like Marco Melandri's on a fucking on the Grassini Honda, and it's basically a factory bike. You know what I mean? And Max Biaggi's on a Camel, and it's basically a factory bike. Like, this is not that same era. No one gives a fuck about the satellite Hondas. Cal is a glorified test mule, and the Mark VDS bikes just. I mean, they can't get it together. I don't know if it's the bike's hard to set up, if the team's having trouble with MotoGP and Hondas, but it's definitely, I have a feeling that they're just going to, Morbidelli's a top talent, but I think that they're going to struggle again. And sticking Alex Marquez on that thing was like, it was funny. Some of the guys on Reddit or on other fucking boards are like, well, they have the bike. Who are we going to put on it? Well, not a rookie who doesn't know how to set up a bike or do anything. It's just literally a PR stunt. It's just nepotism. Like, stick one of the test riders on that. Luthi being gone was not secret, and have them test. Have the test rider literally say, I'm here to give you guys the feedback you need to get this thing set up for new riders. They should have used an experienced test rider to get these 2 rookies direction. Because generally, when you add 2 rookies to a team, it's not the greatest because you have no direction at all. It's not always, Tech 3 Yamaha. A lot of times it's, 2017 Suzuki.
I mean, they did. I'm pretty sure that Takahashi did actually get some test miles on that same bike, but yeah.
Based on true events.
That's all you got to go to. But yeah, I mean, but that's the other problem too, right? Is Takahashi may end up setting up the bike, but the second he leaves, he takes all that HRC expertise with him. Like, we even saw that in World Superbike when one of the Japanese riders filled in on the Tenkate team. Like, he brought an HRC engineer with him. They found some setup stuff, but the second he left, the bike went to shit again. So it's not like they're providing consistent support that they need to set up the motorcycle. I don't know.
And the other thing with the
ahead.
Alex Marquez thing is it kind of backfired because I was reading something and he was over a second off of the pace of Morbidelli. Do you think they sabotaged him so he couldn't be faster?
No,
I mean, all I know is, like, the same thing with Alex Marquez that bugged the shit out of me. It was, like, all concise in one tweet. They show a picture of Alex Marquez dragging elbow. Like, this is some newfangled thing no one's ever seen before, right? Like, everyone in club races is dragging elbow these days, right? And they're like, I would say he got up to speed fast. And I was like, yeah, man, he's so up to speed, he's only second slowest. Like, they're literally just lying to your face, the fakest news you could be. I mean, literally fake news. Like, they are leaving out of context the fact that he was way off pace and super slow and second slowest, and because it looked good, and look at how this guy is like a Marquez, and he has all these nice sponsors, and the bike is so pretty, and woo, he can touch his elbow to the ground. So does, like, back markers in Moto 2. This ain't a new thing. You know what I mean? Like, but they're trying to, like, form the narrative that he's up to speed. Nah, bro, he'd been lapped over race distance. He ain't up to speed. Stop trying to fucking force feed us Alex Marquez and his herpy lip, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna give the whole fucking series herpes with this guy.
Your hatred of Alex Marquez is just dripping out of all the words that you say. This is ridiculous.
We all thought, like, Iannone trained and fucked in the off-season, and man, his Instagram is crazy, and it's gonna be nuts, and how many STDs these guys have, and that's what they got after the fucking race. That's why they couldn't test. The only fucking guy with any actual evidence is the dude who kissed his brother live on television. He's got, like, 8 herpes on the bottom left lip. I mean, it's like, whoa, bro, put some Carmex on that thing or something. Fuck.
All right, we're moving on to some of the other factories since we just.
Because I'll talk about Alex Marquez's fucking herpy face as much. I mean, Veronica doesn't even exist, and she ain't gonna fuck with that.
That's why we're moving on. Veronica wants you to move on. Let's
exactly.
let's
I want to
talk
talk about
Ducati.
Iannone.
Oh, you want to talk about Iannone?
I want to talk about Iannone because some people asked us. I have this theory that next year Suzuki is going to do a lot better, and it's kind of piggybacked on this idea that Zarco's not going to do as good next year as a lot of people think. Like, he's not going to be a perennial winner and all that. But one of the reasons is that Suzuki is, I think, can do significantly better. Alex Rins is healthy. He's off of a solid result in the race. He looked good at the test when he wasn't fucking recovering from chlamydia. And fucking Iannone looked good in the tests. And they have no concession, or they have concessions for next year. They don't have to have the limited testing, the limited engines. They get some extra stuff that's going to help them move forward. Brivio said their engine was a problem and they couldn't work around it. And now we're going to see that we got some motivated guys who are finally up to pace, and I just kind of wanted, like, some people asked us if we'd get a little more nerdy with Rob. They wanted more tech talk. So, Rob, here's your chance. Please explain why Suzuki gets a little more leeway on their bikes this year and what that leeway actually entails.
Ooh, putting me on the spot. The leeway
on the spot, bitch.
The leeway is quite simple. They get 9 engines instead of 7. They get to develop their aero package as much as they fucking want to, and they can test as much as they want. Oh yeah, so many mustache rides. And they can pretty much test up to the limit. They always have a limit on testing, and it's the number of tires that Michelin supplies. But they get to test, I don't know if it's anywhere, but it's just not as restricted as all the other teams that scored podiums last year. Because they got 0 podiums, so they get concessions. So
and those concessions and we saw what they were able to do in the previous years, you know, when they had concessions. You know, they got a lot of hate this year, but this was the first year they didn't have them. Maverick won and got podiums when they had those. Hellacious.
Sorry, that's actually the thing that I forgot, is not only do they get to make 9 engines instead of 7, they can actually do engine development in the season, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All the other teams submit actually 1 to 3 specs of engines to Dorna at the beginning of the year, and those are frozen. So like all the Hondas, there's different engine specs because the factory can make a factory spec, they can have a satellite spec, they can have a second lower satellite spec. They submit those to Dorna, and those teams are stuck with them. Like, same thing. We know that Tech 3 is not getting the same engine as the factory team. And so Yamaha submits 2 specs. Ducati, we know for sure that they're using probably 3 specs because they have 3 different motorcycles. But any factory that has concessions gets to make changes to any of the engines that they want throughout the year.
Right, which is huge, especially when, you say your biggest problem was your engine was the problem.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw this year that Yamaha kind of towards the end of the year, they said that they were having problems with their engine, and that's the first thing that they brought to test, right? They brought their 2018 engine, and the reason why they didn't throw it in the bike earlier was because they weren't allowed to by the rules. They didn't have concessions.
Right, so we see that Suzuki now has guys that have a year on the bike, that are looking pretty fast, that are healthy, that may or may no longer have chlamydia, and they're good to go. Also, according to Iannone's Instagram today, he has a tattoo on his back that says "Never Give Up." I know this because I received 37 messages about it. And so the black and white picture in which he clearly isn't wearing pants, or he's wearing them exceedingly low, his back left shoulder says in terrible script, "Never give up." So we know he ain't gonna give up.
That's such a basic tattoo. Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, he's such a. Is he becoming a basic bro? This
Here's
can't be
the thing.
good.
More than one person mentioned that we should just do an Iannone episode. And I fully agree. And so that's what we're going to do at some point soon. We're just going to do a whole episode on the dude. Like, he's the greatest character on the show right now, by far.
That might have to be a video, though. Because it's like, basically, you got to somehow make it a porn. I mean...
We need to do like a YouTube video where we talk and then like the pictures and the videos come across the screen or something. But,
that's it. No, we'll do a video compilation and we'll dub over it, and you can do like the bad lip syncing kind of thing, and it'll
nice.
Be some kind of,
right.
It'll be pretty funny.
This sounds like a lot of editing.
It sounds like a lot of work,
so
but it would be funny.
Get on it. So, in any event, he's never going to give up. I know this because he has it written on his back permanently. And so, I'm thinking that Suzuki's looking, they're lined up good for next year. And they followed up at the Jerez test with good times. He was looking good, looking solid. And I have a feeling, I know we only talking about practice, but I think we're hopefully seeing what we thought we were going to get this year with Iannone and Rins.
We're talking about practice, and I can't help but think about how Maverick won the practice title last season, right. and then turned it into his 2017 performance. Like, I almost put less stock into all of these practice performances because of Maverick.
The fucking bro won 3 races. And got third in the championship. This is my problem. Like, maybe because I built it up like he was going to win that. The guy still had, he had so much better of a year than Ben Spies' best year in GP, and everyone acts like it's a big letdown. He had a better first year on Yamaha than Jorge did. He had right? I mean, he didn't have a bad year. He won multiple races, had multiple podiums, and then had a bad second half of the year.
That's true, Kev.
His testing...
That's true. I will blame it on you.
His testing in the off-season... Yeah, blame it on me. His testing in the off-season directly led into early competitiveness. He completely transitioned from what he learned in the off-season to winning in the beginning of the season. Then he tapered off. That's the difference. The question isn't whether you can does winning the testing championship bring you hot into, the season? It clearly does. It's does it maintain? That's the problem.
That's the
Marc
letdown.
Marquez actually just never gave up. We covered this before. He was literally losing his hair over this. I think, and the biggest thing is, Maverick had Chiara, then he didn't. And look what happened when he didn't.
God damn it. I know, you're going to bring that up every time we talk about him. I know.
I am. Yeah. Fuck yeah, I am. And Veronica's never going to bring Chiara up. She's not really ever going to mention it because she's going to know, because she's going to be a little jealous. But see, what I'm going to do with the jealousy is plant seeds of how she really is the one. By having Veronica be irrationally jealous about certain things that Chiara was probably really good at. Like, Veronica will be
motocross riding?
Yes, she'll be very insecure that she does not know a lot about motorcycles, and she'll try to overcompensate by giving him advice. And he'll get annoyed by some noob giving him advice that clearly is wrong, and then he'll think back about the late nights, like up late watching Stranger Things, where Kiara paused it and turned to him and said, "You know what? Your compression damping is way off. That's the problem. It just hit me. I saw it. You know, when, like, what I realized in the upside down is that you're getting too much rebound, and your fucking rebound damping is giving you into the upside down. You need to tighten it up so it's not so bad to keep you in the normal world." And that's the thing, right? She's connecting these things. And so Veronica's going to be so wrong that he thinks about the time Kiara was right. I'm going to send him right back into his true love, and y'all act like I'm doing something nefarious. This is God's work, son.
Somebody's got to do it.
Oh, man. That'll be the tech talk for those episodes when you describe what Veronica says to Maverick about his bike.
And then what'll happen is Veronica will start out all nice, but then she'll get, like, freaky, and then, like, a little too freaky. At first he'll be into it, but she'll be freaky enough that he kind of loses respect for her. And then he'll remember, like, he didn't like to do that nasty stuff with Kiara because he actually, like, liked her too much. You know what I mean? He can't do that. He can't do butt stuff and then bring her to his mom. Fuck.
That is true.
Right?
Is it? Oh, man.
Generally, don't bring the girl you did butt stuff with to your mom. Yeah. Generally.
There's exceptions.
Now, if you got married and then you did the butt stuff after, then that's different.
Can we get that as a title of Rob's sex tape, please?
No.
Damn it.
That might be Kev's sex tape, but yeah.
Oh, man. All right, back on topic.
Back to motorcycle race.
All right, so the next thing that we had to talk about for Valencia was notable bike swaps. So people that actually jumped on a different motorcycle, i.e.
The
Ducati.
reason why Rob just couldn't say that almost because he almost said notable butt stuff.
Notable butt stuff swaps.
Exactly.
Notable butt swaps.
So the notable thing that happened, the thing that most people were super stoked on, was Jack Miller, boot drinking cowboy, slinging a leg over the Ducati.
Yeah, it actually worked out really well for Jack until he just threw it down the road because it was too cold. He was a little over exuberant in the morning. But yeah, no, it seems that Jack Miller knows how to ride a motorcycle with the rear brake, and he fucking loves that Ducati. Yeah, right. He was.
I like his quote about saying it turns really well, and no one else has said that, and he was like, "Those assholes should ride other bikes then." Totally throwing Honda under the bus. Those guys should probably try to ride some of the other bikes on the grid.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, the nice thing is he doesn't really have that filter, and he can kind of talk shit about HRC a little bit now that he's moved to Ducati.
Right. I mean, that's why he's on the grid, to talk shit.
Yeah. He's a younger version of Cal.
Yeah.
Slightly more. I didn't really like him that much last year, but he's kind of growing on me now, and I'm really interested to see what he's going to do on the Ducati.
Camp. Yeah, same. Yeah.
Here's the thing with Miller. I'm a little worried, right? A lot of people like Miller. He was kind of I'm still convinced that HRC signed him to purposely derail him to make him not Alex Marquez's rival. I think they signed him too quick, stuck him on a shitty bike, and then stuck him on a shitty team on purpose. They were getting him out of the way, right? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's exactly what they were doing. But he gets on the Ducati, and when was the last time any rider got on a new bike and didn't like it? They always say they like it because they're reinvigorated, they're refreshed, and they're feeling fresh, and they're inspired to ride it. So of course they're going to go fast and feel good. But we got honeypotted by Scott Redding doing literally the exact same thing. Switching from the shitty team, going to the Pramac, having really good results in testing, even better than Miller's. And then it never really come into fruition, ever. So I'm a little hesitant that Miller, not an Italian, not Petrucci, on last year's bike is going to get enough attention from that squad and that team reliably all season to actually put in solid performances and grow his career.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same camp. I'm skeptical about anything in testing this early on. It's just they're all going to get on. They're all going to toe the line. They got to kind of do it. It's early in the season. No point in getting bad blood yet, right? So,
right.
I mean, I still gotta think that Ducati being the smallest factory, they still kind of take a little bit more risk when they put out a new bike, and especially being on the satellite team, right? Petrucci had amazing performances in the wet, and he got those 4 podiums, and it was a solid year for him. But his dry pace went to shit. Like, he literally had his worst finishes in MotoGP ever. Even though, didn't he ride a fucking Aprilia CRT bike back in the day? Like, he got 21st at Phillip Island without crashing. I'm pretty sure he didn't crash.
He rode for the Iota team, like, I'm pretty sure, like, on a Suter-framed BMW at one point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's the only guy who rode a CRT and turned it into a solid other than Pirro. You know what I mean? Like, he's the only guy who was able to make that happen.
Yeah, and he got his worst finish because he was on the GP17 on the new bike, but didn't have all of the factory technicians, and that's going to be the same thing next year. So I feel like Miller is going to have a little bit less variability in his results because he has all the factory setups from last year. He knows exactly what's going to work. Pramac gets great support from Ducati. They're the number 2 team. Ducati helps them out quite a bit. Petrucci, he will also get great support, but he's going to be a couple rounds behind the factory bikes because they're so freaking new. I'm this close to saying that I would rather be in Miller's position than Petrucci's, just because of the risk of being on a satellite team with a factory bike and it being the smallest or a smaller factory in MotoGP. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Provocative.
Then it just boils down to who do you think has more talent, Petrucci or Miller?
I mean, here's what it boils down to me: who has more Italian? And there's a clear winner in that one. Yeah. Shocker, right? I mean, here's the thing: like, I just rarely does a guy switch to Pramac, and that's like what reinvigorates his career. I mean, the fucking list of dudes who went to Pramac and had nothing happen is long and distinguished, like my Johnson. Yeah, Top Gun reference.
You had to throw it in there.
There's so many people have gone to that Pramac team and had it just literally be the end. I mean, fucking Spies and Joust and Hogston and fucking Depunier and Caparossi. I mean, so guys who have way better fucking credentials than Miller ever had have fucking, you know what I mean, have gone, have had that ride fuck their career up.
I'm trying to look at the results here and see who else did good.
Iannone once raced for Pramac, and
right, but he's a fucking Italian.
Yeah,
I know. But
and he got a factory bike like halfway through the season because Cal Crutchlow said that he was done.
Lewis said he wasn't trying.
Yep. Oh, sorry, but that was also his second season. Iannone was there early. Tony Elias got 2 podiums on a Pramac Ducati way back in the day.
Yeah, and then they on the fly using GPS slowed his bike down because he beat Casey Stoner that one race in 2008. That happened. Like, you're talking conspiracies. That shit actually happened.
He got those 2 podiums and then got like 12th like right after it. They were just like, fuck you, slow down.
They cut off as many RPMs as Johnny Rea got cut off. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Right, but I think it's like what Everett said is that it's hard to look at someone going to the Pramac as the B rider and think this is going to be some kind of revelation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not just a lateral step. It is a bit of a back step. He's going from, yes, it was a Honda satellite, which we've kind of come to realize isn't the greatest, but he's clearly going to be the second rider on that team. He's in the Ben Spies role of that team. He's, he is simply not going to be the focus of that team. Petrucci's been there for a while now. He's brought them their best success in years. All of that stuff that's involved, down to that guy Pernat who's involved and all that. Like, Miller's going to be the odd man out. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be Josh Herron-like, where they give Herron's fucking Akrapovic exhaust to Zarco, but Miller, which was some bullshit, by the way.
Graves exhaust.
But exactly. But I just think that Miller is not going to be the focus of that team.
Yeah.
He's not some special project.
No.
Don't give me that he's signed directly to Ducati. That doesn't mean shit.
Well, he was supposed to be Honda's golden boy, and they've already released him basically. So he's just staying in the series at this point.
We knew he wasn't Honda's golden boy because they left Honda's golden boy in Moto 2 to attempt to win a title for how many years now?
Right, yeah, I think that I mean, I've said this before, and I don't know, Ev, I'm telling you, man, look at all of the guys that raced against Marquez. They've desperately tried to get him out of there, but Miller gets this weird experimental long-term contract, but they stick him on the shitty production bike, and then he switches teams. The whole thing, I've always kind of on the side thought, especially after that season where, remember when Miller was facing Marquez and he was just doing crazy shit, like block passing him, slowing him, showing just incredible racecraft. And that was the year that Marquez got that like special Honda, and he still won way less races than Miller. And then Miller gets signed right away to MotoGP and kind of a contract that's unheard of. I've always felt that they just fucked him up on purpose. They knew he was the year, he was the era and the age and all that stuff that Marquez was, but he was better in every facet, and let's just derail this guy.
And he wasn't Marc Marquez. He wasn't Marquez. Big Marquez, older Marquez good, so they weren't going to actually sign him to the good team. They weren't going to put the effort into him. Yeah.
It goes back to you'll never know, right? Because he was always on a third tier team, and he never really had factory support. He had sort of backing, but he didn't really have the support, right? He didn't have
That's the whole point.
And the parts. I know, but it's always a fallacy, right? You can't just force somebody to work their way up. You got to put them into the seat and give them the shot. Otherwise, you'll never know. And
I love how we're don't really work.
I love how we're justifying the conspiracy to Everett, the conspiracy guy.
I know, right? He's like not sure. I'm trying to convince him.
Yeah. All right, we got to move on. We'll talk about Tito Rabat a little bit later. Do you want to talk about how the Moto2 rookies did at Valencia?
Yes, I do. How did Luthi do?
How did Luthi do? I'm pretty sure he did an amazing job commentating. No, fuck it. Moving on. Morbidelli. What about your Jerry Curl boy?
God, he's the man.
He's so good.
It was just surreal to see him and Valentino on track at the same time. Like, the takeover is happening. I mean, the VR46 takeover is happening. Here's the first step, though. The first champion, and now he's on track with Valentino. We'll see what that Mark VDS team does. And remember when I talked about how it sucked that, like, there was no dope liveries? Well, the guy just wore the same leathers because the bike looks exactly the same. It's like the most notable move up. Like when Marc Marquez moved up, he had that sweet bike that was all white, and he had like 93s on him. For some reason, like all his boots and leathers were covered in like a lot of 93s.
I forgot about that.
But he had a cool like rookie test, scheme. Morbidelli just wore his same leathers that he wore from fucking the race before.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that before, right? About how teams and how factories are building up their talent, the tiers, so that they can bring talent up through all the classes.
Franchises.
And this is the start of it.
Yeah, I mean, Morbidelli looked solid. He, it's the problem with the comparison is he didn't go to a factory team like Lorenzo did, like Pedrosa did, like Valentino, like Marc Marquez. It's always hard because when you get a Marc Marquez with Casey Stoner's crew, you have like he slips right into the perfect setup and scenario. Morbidelli comes in and has to figure everything out with a team who still clearly has to figure things out.
Yeah. They're still early.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before. Like, the technical expertise, even at the middle or lower tier factories, is still probably better than the satellite teams, especially a newer satellite team. Like, this is an LCR we're talking about who's been in MotoGP for God knows how long.
I know how long, since 2006.
Oh, well, there you go.
So you can call me God.
I was just waiting for it. I knew it was coming. It's like, oh boy.
All right, what about Pramac?
encyclopedia.
How long has Pramac been in MotoGP?
Oh,
Let's see if you can get this one.
For what, 2004.
Oh,
The
you're
actual
so close.
The
No,
sponsor,
that's
the sponsor or the
Ducati,
team?
though. That's when they
sponsor or the
started
team?
with Ducati. 2004 was the first
also
year
wrong.
because... No. What?
No, also wrong. They were not in MotoGP in 2004. They started with Ducati in 2005.
Yes, and they had Joust and Hogston as their riders, correct?
No.
Who was their first riders? What?
No.
Robbie Rolfo in 2005.
Yes! Roberto Rodolfo.
They had
It was
they were on
close.
Hondas. They were on Hondas in 02 and 03.
That's what I was
With,
going to say. Yeah.
Who the hell is Tetsuya Harada? I feel like I should know.
You don't know who Harada is, dog?
No, that's before my time, man. I know who Makoto Tamada is.
Yeah, my boy. He fucking first Bridgestone winners. But, you know, I mean, Pramac this year, I don't know. I mean, Petrucci, you know, he's going to, I assume, get the new bike. We saw Miller had the winged bike, not quite the Hammerhead, but the Jorge-style wings. That's pretty cool. We saw Rabat had those too. Ducati didn't bring a whole lot new to the test. They didn't have their new bikes. Those will be at Sepang. So that kind of goes back with the test times don't super matter because Pramac didn't have a whole lot to test, so they're just putting their bikes on, the guys on, and say, "Hey, try to put some fast times and get to know this thing." Meanwhile, you know, Yamaha's testing a million things, and now they're at Sepang right now with like 4 bikes for every rider. The main factor is there to try new stuff, but Pramac and some of those middle tier teams are just there to put fast lap times, get their sponsors on television, and, you know, Jack Miller wants to prove a point a little bit. Petrucci wants to prove a point a little bit. That's really all that's going on with those guys.
Well, and so talking about new stuff, pretty much the only one that actually brought an entirely new motorcycle was HRC, right? Ducati didn't bring. Yeah, I don't even think Ducati didn't bring anything really. Yamaha brought old chassis and a new motor. All the satellite teams, of course, don't really get anything new. Like Zarco got to use the 2017 Yamaha, which that Rossi and Vinales had already been using, and who knows which one he rode because, of course, they made two major revisions throughout the season. The satellite riders generally do better at the Valencia test than some of the factories because they're on well set up bikes, and then the factories that bring new stuff have to work on setup. It kind of to that point, it makes it a little scary that Marquez was able to put in amazing times on the new bike. Actually, I don't know if he did it on the new bike. Yeah, it's still a test. Yeah, that's all we're talking about. It's fucking November. God damn it.
But that's that's the key to Marquez. Marquez is one of the rare guys who in tests is going to go super fast because the way he tests, finds setups, and does stuff is he nearly crashes the bike or does crash the bike. And so
that's a good point.
Only way he can test is he needs to find the limit and go 3% past that limit.
Rob, I take your frustration as you just realizing that it's kind of a stretch to talk about things for about an hour and a half or two when it's testing.
We have. It's only been like 40 minutes. We still have so much more to talk about.
Oh, we got plenty of content. It's just hard to get excited about it. It's like, it's testing.
There's a tech talk coming up, and I'm quite excited about it.
I know.
Quite excited.
We're putting that near the end, so we only lose a few hundred listeners.
We have to balance out my cockamamie Veronica plan with Rob talking some rational rules talk. I mean, we could do a whole episode where I just lay out my plans on how to fuck with all the riders. It's not even hard because literally 20 minutes ago, Cal Crutchlow jumps on Twitter on a fucking Emmett's page when Emmett and Jeremy McWilliams are talking about something, and he's like, "Guys, can you untag me from these tweets?" Like, bro, you were in 2 tweets, and that little blue 2 at the bottom really bothering you? It's really fucking with you right now? You have to go out and like, how salty can you be? Like, I know you went from 2-time winner to Mr. Irrelevant, but it would be so easy to mess with, bro. I mean,
that's the whole point.
I'm not
right?
saying
he did.
I'm not saying I would catfish him, but I'm just saying it wouldn't be that hard.
Wait, you don't have to catfish Cal. He's so irrelevant. He's got to go out of his way to ask people to remove him.
Yes.
What were the tweets? Were there anything spicy?
I don't even know what the fuck they were talking about. They're talking like it wasn't even spicy. It was like, God damn, bro. Like, what are you bitching about? I don't know. Let me see if it fucking rolls up here. There's a bunch of stupid shit. Oh yeah. So like, it's remarkable how some people are. Like David Emmett is talking about how people are so interested in whether a rider is third or sixth best when the differences are so small as to be irrelevant, and it turns into kind of a long thread with Jeremy McWilliams and all this, and then Cal's like, hey, please take me out of these tweets. I'm like, dude, you've only been tweeted like literally twice. Calm the fuck down, bro. The little blue 2 is not that big of a deal. And one guy even tells him that it's just your settings, dude, because no one has actually been retweeting or tweeting at you. It's just you're in the conversation. You haven't changed your settings. So, hey, old man, here's how you take your phone and unsubscribe to things so you don't get these little blue 2s and 1s to let people know that they're talking with you. Like, Jesus fuck.
I was actually thinking the same exact thing, that he just needs to change his notification settings.
Yes.
Cal's about a month older than me. He's such an old man. Such an old man. All right.
Yeah, I mean, just salty as fuck.
Whatever just happened, I don't know.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about Nakagami before we move on to the Jerez test?
Yeah, sure.
Do you care?
I'm kind of I'm just happy there's a Japanese rider back in the series, so that's always nice. But
that's it.
I hope he does what he does, and someone else said it, I think in the comments somewhere on Instagram or something. I hope he does well and has a few flashes of brilliance. I don't expect much out of most guys in that position, so I'm just hopeful that he gets maybe a top 5 through the year or something kind of interesting and makes it fun. That's all I can ask for.
I mean, he's in a good spot. I mean, the LCR team is significantly better than Mark VDS. The head of LCR has repeatedly stated that his desire is to be the guy who fosters young talent so that they can take the next step in their career. What are you laughing at? I'm being hella serial right now.
No. I'm laughing at the thought because we know that HRC doesn't do that. Like, literally, LCR, Lucio wants this, and it's never going to happen.
But, it did happen with Casey Stoner in their first year. He fostered him. Stoner got a pole. He nearly won a race. He had a couple podiums, and then he became Ducati's factory rider.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But LCR wants to foster talent for HRC to move to the Repsol team. Like, he doesn't want to foster talent for people to steal it from him and go win titles for someone else.
Yeah, it's true. So I think Nakagami is in a better position than Morbidelli is to an extent that the other thing is that Morbidelli has the VR46 Riders Academy on his side. He literally has an entire group of people dedicated to training him to making him better. So it would be interesting to see how they do. Morbidelli more talented, but probably not on as good of a team, but at the same time has a larger backing of kind of the outside franchise who has a vested interest in making sure he does well.
That's a really good point. Like, I know exactly who to blame.
I do good stuff once in a while. I don't just talk about crazy shit.
I know exactly who to blame if when one of them is doing worse than the other one, right? Like, Morbidelli will likely be riding better halfway through the season than Taka, and Nakagami may be on better equipment. He might be. I mean, Cal is gonna know how to set that bike up because it was kind of like last year's model, and he's on the same team. Cal won't be doing as well because he'll be test rider for the entire season, and he'll be bitching about how he can't just practice and work on his race setup. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting dynamic for all of those riders.
So next test.
Yeah. All right. So Jerez went down.
Are you listeners losing interest yet? You getting a little worried? We're just talking about kind of testing. I mean, I can be more excited. I can talk about like other random shit if you want.
You get to talk about so the Valencia test was a little bit lacking in speculation, wild theories.
Right.
The Jerez test, not so much. Like, we got a bunch of that.
More interesting.
Quite a bit more interesting. I didn't see any footage whatsoever, but we do know what happened from the plenty of articles that
Despite
came
the
out.
fact that I apparently paid Dorna for the ability to see the footage, I saw nothing.
Yeah, I haven't combed their website. I probably should have done that to see if they even released like 30-second highlight videos. Maybe Chaz Davis's crash. I love that movie. Your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Yeah, exactly. Rob, my Schwartz is way bigger than yours.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, asshole.
The level of confidence, I would have to believe that.
there was all kinds of actors at the Jerez test. I mean, we had a superbike rider go fastest. We had Dovizioso break the record and then turn around and look at Mark like a pimp. Did any of you guys see that picture where Mark Marquez is looking at him and Dovizio had just broke the fucking circuit record and he turns back and looks at him. He's like, I see you, motherfucker. I see you watching. I see you fucking getting your fucking brother to be able to ride the bike. Fuck you. Fuck you. And Iannone fucking impressed and looked pretty darn good there with his mustache ride.
He was running, and they were running the winglets the whole time. That's the main thing that gets me for fucking Suzuki. Like, put the fucking winglets on the bike. He will go faster.
Right.
Tell me how you really feel, Rob.
Dude, half of motorcycle racing, if not more, is in the dude's head, right? It's how confident are you? How daring do you feel? How fucking big are your nuts? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, it's so much a head game for these guys, and we already know the dude gets off on mustache rides. You stick the mustache right on his bike and he goes well. This isn't like a secret. This guy is desperately screaming for help via his Instagram stories. For the love of God, let me ride a mustache. And, if you take it away from him, not so good. If you just let him have the Van Buren, he's good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always surprised when these things seem to be so obvious to us and then a factory motorcycle team does not implement them. But I don't know. They have to know what they're doing, right?
Here's the thing, Rob.
Yeah?
I'm not surprised that a bunch of Japanese dorks don't understand that Iannone is inspired by mustache rides. Nor am I surprised that I can see that. I mean, it's perception, man. It's how you view the world. It's how you came up in the world. Everyone sees things differently. And like Ev was telling me before we started recording, I see some shit that other people don't see. And, it's there for the taking if they would just open their eyes to the grander. Like, they need to open their third eye. And by third eye, I mean that butthole. I
knew
would
you
know
were-
these things.
I knew
Let me
you were gonna
help
say
you
that.
understand what that means.
The eye that stinks, not the eye that winks.
Oh, this is terrible. All right. What else interesting happened at the test? You already said that Johnny
Tito
Rea went
Rabat is
fastest.
fast as fuck. Dog
There
is
it was.
fast. What the fuck?
William Dafoe.
He was... Now, before you keep going, let me remind you, he was extremely fast in Moto2 when he won the championship, right? I mean, no one was
Right.
even close. And then we just forget about that because he was such dog shit in GP. The dude's got
Dog
skills. To be that dominant in Moto2 a couple years back was a big deal.
Oh yeah, dude's got squabbles, no doubt. And it was just like, fuck, speaking of dog shit, how dog shit is that Honda? Because he got on an Avintia Ducati and was like pretty fucking quick. I mean, Avintia is, I don't even know who that is or why they're on the grid. And he's like embarrassing a dude who's a straight billionaire running a team. You know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy that, like I said, all y'all motherfuckers thought Jack Miller was going to be the revelation of Honda riders switching to fucking Ducati, and it was Tito motherfucking Rabat, son to the jeweler, dog. I mean, fuck. It was just like, he had, his helmet literally said his name on it, which was kind of like, it actually looked kind of cool for being the least ingenious testing helmet I've ever seen. Just like, hey, I'm going to stick my name on it. Fuck it. Asymmetrical name, and it's all good. And he was like, they gave him the wings, and they were fucking painted up good, and he was quick. Quick as a motherfucker. I mean, it was all good.
I mean, he's got the GP17 now, which is a race-winning, championship-contending motorcycle, so he should be able to do quite well. I'm actually surprised that Avintia got the GP17s, and they are not on the 16s, because weren't they 2 years behind this year?
I mean, fucking Carroll's got to be pissed, dog, because Rabat, like, you know what I mean, like, got the GP17. I mean, like, it's like Everett said, he was a Moto2 champion. The dude is not a slouch. He knows how to ride. And Tito even said, the Tito from Moto2 is back. I just wonder, again, about the head thing. He gets on a bike and it doesn't suck, and the team seems to have some semblance of what's going on. And he's like, fuck, I'm feeling happy. I'm pushing. I'm riding hard. Like, that happiness, that, like, contentment and excitement is worth, I don't know quantitatively, but it's worth a tenth a lap or something. I mean, it's definitely got power to push these guys to find the limit because, I mean, he's out of purgatory right now. What is that fucking buzzing? I swear to God. I don't know what the fuck that is. That's Dorna trying to get into me. They heard about my catfishing scheme. They're trying to fuck me up right now.
That was fucked
I'm
up.
I'm surprised that Avintia already kind of got a handle on that motorcycle because they didn't exactly do great in the past season, right? Like Hector and Baz were pretty far down there in the title, and
look, man, you just answer your own question. They didn't do that great because A, Hector, and A, Baz.
That's a very good point.
I mean, fuck, I don't know. I mean, fucking Baz is like 9 feet tall. He's too big to be on the grid. We know that because multiple teams turned him down for being too big to be on the grid. Yeah. I mean, you know, that bike is a race-winning, championship-contending bike, and they have all the data. They have the data for those tracks. Stick them on it, download the software, here's the data, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll just see if he's going to win the testing championship again, or if he's actually going to transition to a good season.
I have something I want to bring up, though, speaking of the Ducatis and the satellite teams, all that, is this isn't on our syllabus, but we're not supposed to talk about it, but fuck you, Rob. I don't give a shit what you say. Petrucci crashed the bike, and we saw the salad box, the insides.
Holy shit. Really?
Did you see the picture? Oh,
no,
yeah.
I did not see.
It came out. He crashed the bike. He busted a hole in the side of the salad box. Petrucci tossed the salad. And y'all know from my last episode, I don't toss salad unless I'm going to fuck. But he broke the side of that fucking salad box open, and it's full of electronics, and they were thinking that it was a separate ECU, which they're sort of not supposed to have. But kind of can have because a hole in the rules. But, I mean, maybe that's why they gave Rabat the 17. They're sticking extra computers on there and fucking downloading software and doing their thing. I mean, I'm going to send you the picture. Rob, for the next 2 minutes, you need to carry the episode, you and Ev, because I'm going to get this picture for you. I swear to fucking God.
That is a straight trace busted, though. I mean, that's... Rob, I don't know how I feel about that. That could be borderline cheating, like real cheating.
No, it's not fucking borderline cheating.
Real cheating is the best
exactly
cheating.
This. Yes, that's also true. No, this is legit, right? We already know that the IMUs are open. They can run whatever the fuck they want for an IMU.
Okay, Rob, I got the picture.
Send it to me.
I'm sending it right now.
No, send it to me.
Technology is fucking dope.
Yeah, I know, right? We also know that Ducati moved a lot of their electronics back there because they made that hammerhead fairing, right? They made the huge hammerhead, which had almost no front or no space in front fairing where they normally put the ECU, so they stuck it in the salad box. Like, I'm not surprised that there are a shit ton of electronics back there. But all right, let's see this picture of the salad box. Yeah, it just
you gotta toss the salad. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it just looks like fucking ECU data log or something, right? There's so much electronics.
Yeah, but what they're saying is it's a secondary ECU that pre-processes the fucking sensors before sending it to the stock one, and that's how they're
totally legal.
No, you could have it
that's
before.
how they're using
you couldn't
that
have it
second.
Before.
That's how they're using that proprietary software to be able to like make optimal maps per lap per race because they have a pre-processing unit hidden in the tail end. These hips don't lie.
Everyone, when the spec ECU, like all the regulations came out and the factories were allowed to run whatever fucking IMU they wanted to, and they weren't required to run one that Dorna made because the Dorna made one was too shitty, everyone said this was going to happen. So I'm not fucking surprised. It just this is exactly what they predicted. Because an IMU is already a processor. It takes sensor data and it does math to it, and then it gives it to the ECU. So they went further with it. It's in the rules. It's not cheating. They're going to keep doing it.
It's not cheating unless you get caught anyway.
Yeah, and they got caught, and it's still not cheating.
I'm kind of bummed that it's not one of those weird mass stabilizers and dampers inside of it. It was doing stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. That was kind of a cool, a mechanical damper system, but they clearly got some shit happening inside the tail end of that bike. So,
what I want to know is, why is there all this?
I forgot that picture.
Where's all this? Why is all this fucking extra space right there? That seems really wasteful to me. Goddamn it, Ducati.
Goddamn Ducati. Italians aren't exactly known for their efficiency.
Yeah, didn't fucking Rossi's crew chief say that when they moved to Ducati that the bike, all the fairings didn't fit really well, the fit and finish was terrible. I thought Eyebrow fixed that. Come on. God damn it.
Come on.
You know
all what right. Didn't fix? Being faster than Johnny Rea. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair,
that's real talk right there.
To be fair, on the combined times, I'm pretty sure that Dovey still had the fastest time combined times.
Right.
By 3/10.
But what Ray was able to do was to give everyone something to make shit up over to carry us through the off season. Cause goddamn, I love that the rule change happens and it just it's supposed to slow down Kawasaki, but it just fucks Ducati, and Kawasaki doesn't even skip a fucking beat because they're an actual real factory, whereas Ducati is a fake factory, and they're just gonna be fucks Ducati, and then Ray throws on some qualifiers and says, "I'm gonna go faster than the fucking MotoGP bikes" just to talk shit, and then he totally does go faster than a lot of the GP bikes that are there, and everyone flips their shit.
So can we make something up then? Because everything that you just said was completely true and factual.
Fuck.
Everett, give me some fake news, please.
What kind of fake news you want?
I want some fake news about Johnny Rea on the Kawasaki at the Jerez test.
The fakest of news.
I don't know. The only news I was conspiring on was the tires. Do you think that the big difference in the tires, right? They're running different tires, right?
Well, they have... So Johnny Rea has qualifiers. They've got qualifiers. I pretty much all my previous comparisons about GP tires to Superbike tires, I would always compare the Pirelli qualifiers to the straight up MotoGP tires because it always seemed like the GP tires were light years ahead, especially the front end, right? When we were talking about Bridgestones. With Michelin's, not so sure, right? Because the rear tire is supposedly a lot better. The front tire, you can't load it as much. But at the same time, Michelin has started making more Bridgestone-esque tires because that's what all the GP racers have wanted. So I'm still going to stick with the same comparison. If we want to have it as equal as possible, you take the Pirelli qualifier and the regular Michelin tires. But there's one other thing too that everyone already said, this was all the GP bikes. This is their first time on the repaved track. The Superbike riders have been there before. Pirelli brought new qualifiers and we're testing new tires. Michelin just brought the same tires that they used at the GP round, which was on the old track surface.
The Frenchies are really lazy, whereas the Italians and their Pirellis are.
I mean, that's the thing.
Pretty much.
So some of these guys, like we talked about how Yamaha Japan has 4 bikes per rider, and some of these guys like Cal have very heavy testing schedules. The GP riders have testing schedules. They know they don't really have anything to prove, but the Superbike guys kind of have a chip on their shoulder. Johnny Rea. Everyone kind of knows he probably should be in GP, but he's not. So even though that's sort of on him, and he's signed with Kawasaki, and he's a family man, he only rides 13 rounds a year instead of 20 that's coming up. That's his decision. There's still kind of an insecurity about it. So he slaps on some... because there's no reason for him to throw qualifiers on and trying to run a couple of fast laps. That is literally him trying to prove a point. And on that same line, Pirelli has been known as being kind of like not the best tire for a while now. They came on as the spec tire. They weren't that great. And they've never been lauded as this amazing tire. Like the Bridgestones had this tire that Ben Spies was so unreal he couldn't even understand it at times. Right? And he had just ridden Pirelli's. So Pirelli sort of has something to prove too. You're telling me Pirelli didn't know that they would be at a test with Michelin's and GP tires and GP bikes and didn't bring a couple of extra fucking overnight special styles? Yeah. Come on. These guys have inferiority. They got short man complex all day long, and that's really what was going on here, was a bunch of production fucking riders who don't have a lot to test out with something to prove versus a bunch of prototype riders with a shitload to test.
And that's what I was going with it, Rob. I don't necessarily have fake news, but I definitely have conspiracies.
I can't even call it a conspiracy because I just fucking agree. This is terrible.
I know.
No, I mean, and we know, like, Johnny Rea had plenty to test on the Kawasaki because of the new Superbike regulations, but when you're spanking everyone, even in the test, you still have plenty of time to throw on qualifying tires.
Here's the conspiracy.
Super Bowl tires.
Dorna is trying to honeypot Kawasaki into GP. That's what's going on there. I just dawned on me. Why would they've been trying to get them
convincing Kawasaki that you can put a glorified street bike out there on there and be competitive. They're tricking them, dog.
just tweak the frame a little. Come on out, boys.
Stick a trellis frame on it, and you're good.
Actually,
don't get Robert too excited. He'll get pretty mad.
Fucking trellis frames. That's a good point, man. If they give Johnny Rea those,
I was literally sending Rob random BSB trellis frame photos just to fucking troll him. Like, the dude hates trellis frames like I hate Alex Marquez. It's just like, I mean, it's
not
so,
that much.
Yeah.
Not that much.
Not that much.
I mean, to be fair, like, if Johnny Rea had those other those 1200 RPMs or whatever, he might have gone faster than Dovizioso on those qualifying tires. All right, can I segue to Superbike rule changes? Can I do it?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Putting the nerd glasses
assholes,
on.
All of you guys who sent messages that said 9 Kevin rants an episode is a little much. Can we have 8 and then a little bit of Rob talking nerd stuff? Here's your shit. If we fucking drop off on listens, we're back to rants. Veronica gets her own segment. I mean, this is it. Pay attention.
Veronica's already getting her own segment. That's for sure happening.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I mean, you guys got to help me with the banter at least a little bit. All right. So Superbike rule changes next year. They when they first were introduced, they sounded kind of simple. It sounded like Dorna was going, or the FIM and Dorna were going to institute moving rev limit changes, right? So if a factory spanked everyone else for 3 rounds, they would bring their rev limit down. Then if another factory did terrible, maybe they would give them a little bit more RPM. We found out later on that the sort of the thing that they're measuring is not just, performance. It's not just wins. It's top speed. They're looking at like rider performance. They're looking at last year's performance. They're looking at this year. They're looking at bike changes. They've got some really crazy, they've got some really ridiculous like math formula where they figure out who they're going to fuck over with rev limit changes. All that we know with rev limit changes is it doesn't matter. The test has already shown this, right? Fucking Johnny Rea is still out in front. Tom Sykes is in second. The Ducatis have been hit kind of hard, and they're way fucking down. The Yamahas are actually in second now behind the Kawasaki's, right? Not much change. Johnny Rea is still going to win the fucking title. You guys already all know this. You've heard about it. There is one other part about the technical rules that you probably haven't heard that much about yet. They introduced concessions. And I know what you're thinking, right? It's like GP. Yeah, right? All right. So concessions are fucking...
Blow my socks off with concessions, Rob. Blow them off.
I will try. Really hard to blow them off.
Get me wet.
God damn it. All right.
You said you wanted banter.
I know.
This
is perfect.
Banter.
This is perfect. All right. So the concessions
that has
are
never been the title of Rob's sex tape, by the way. That's never, ever been the title of Rob's sex tape.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Concessions.
So concessions now aren't like they can test more or they get more engines or whatever. Concessions are concession parts. So it's not really a way to give shitty factories a better chance of competing with Kawasaki. It's a way to prevent private teams from sucking really bad. So we know the Kawasaki is an amazing motorcycle, but Perticini, their satellite privateer team last year, didn't do that great because they didn't have all the factory parts, right? They didn't have the unobtainium. So concession parts are literally homologated upgrade parts, and every team must use them. So the camshafts that factory Kawasaki is going to be using next year, they have to sell and make available and provide to Perticini and to anyone that uses that motorcycle. So you can imagine that the rev limit, right? The rev limit is for the Kawasaki, for the ZX-10RR.
Right.
If Perticini didn't have the fucking factory bike, that rev limit would really, really, really suck because they'd be on like a B-spec bike and also have to run like 1,200 less RPM. So concession parts make sure that the privateer bikes are better and the rev limit can still apply to them. It's other things too. It's like the valve springs, the velocity stacks, the cylinder head, the porting on the cylinder head, the swing arms, the triples. They're all homologated. They all have a price limit. They all have to be sold and supplied at a certain time to the privateer teams. So, I mean, that's kind of cool because Perticini is probably going to do better next year. Right?
That's not cool. Who cares how Perticini does? I'm only interested in Kawasaki satellite teams if they're running drugs across borders or not.
The only time you see
That's
that team...
That's an actual thing that happened, by the way. That's an actual thing that happened.
That's real. The only time you see that team and their bikes is on the grid at the start of the race. Otherwise,
or in Super Pole 2, right? Or Super Pole 1.
Yeah. They literally could disappear off of the grid and from the series, and no fucks would be given.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I'll give you another reason why. This whole concession part thing may spice things up just a little bit. Actually, I hate it. It's not going to work. All right, so to go along with concession parts, they have concession points. And points are given to a factory based on their podium finishes. So you get 3 points for first, right? 2 for second, and 1 for third.
How the fuck can World Superbike's rules be so complicated? Yeah. Like, my eyes glossed
I was thinking the same thing.
And I was just planning Veronica's text. I'm not even fucking listening to you at this point. Tell me, Rob, how could it be this complicated? Why not just a spec ECU?
It was only 1 page in the rulebook, but yeah, no, we'll get to spec ECU. Let me finish this part
size
first.
2?
No, exactly.
No,
Jesus.
It's not that. Well, whatever.
How big was the page then? How big was the page? Because I did this
PDF.
shit in college. This is how I made it.
This page was like on the Mayan calendar You say 1 page, but it was a 12-foot diameter stone.
That's exactly it. Yes.
Fucking written in hieroglyphics, apparently, of what you can fucking do or not do.
know.
And we have to align our concession points with the fucking North Star and the precession of the Earth's spin, so we know between the stone and Orion how many RPMs that a satellite Ducati can have if they have the approved camshafts supplied by the factories, but that you could buy for a specific price, that's in conjunction with fucking Sagittarius.
You're actually not that far off. So it gets worse. So any factory that has 9 points less than the topmost team after 3 races can update their parts.
Wait, Rob,
I want to cry.
Rob, wait, hold on. Rob, serious question.
Yeah.
Did you carry the 2?
Yeah, no, I carried the 2. I carried the 2.
Yeah, exactly.
40, I mean, this is
42,
unbelievably
42.
complex.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
We know that's the problem.
But
this
I feel
is not
like
good.
Not being done yet is not going to lead to it being simplified. Like, I don't feel that you're going to give us this is not Einstein giving us a grand unified theory of how gravity and superbike competitiveness can actually mix together to give us a full description of the motocosmos. I feel like you're 2 steps away from string and M theory, saying that basically the reason concessions make sense is because there's actually 11 dimensions, bro.
Yeah, pretty much. All right.
Why didn't they just take? Hold on, really quick.
Y'all thought when I started the episode with Catfish and Maverick with a fake chick named Veronica, and now I'm talking string theory, dog. I'm saying vibrating strings with 11 dimensions is the key to making anyone compete with Kawasaki.
Is there? Yeah,
Niels deGrasse Tyson ain't got shit on me.
Why didn't they?
So many talents.
Why didn't they just make the guys who win the first race go to the back of the grid in the second race? That's the
no, because we already know that doesn't matter at all.
Can't like that one.
It doesn't matter at all. That's it. All right, there are 2 more dimensions. So after 9 points, if you have
what
9
fuck? Are we in the Matrix? Are we in Stranger Things?
Let me finish. After first dimension is if you have 9 points less than Kawasaki after 3 races, you can update your parts once. After the entire season, if you have 36 points less than the winning factory, you can update your parts again. And all these concession points, yada yada, like this whole development freeze that goes along with concession parts, it holds over years. So Kawasaki can't make new camshafts, can't make a new cylinder head, can't make new valve springs, can't even make a new swing arm if they keep winning.
So what happens if they cross the streams?
If they cross the streams, the whole world explodes. Or you send Zoger back to the bad dimension.
I'm just saying, this is like the same level. Like, we saw that whole movie was Don't Cross the Streams. The smartest guy in that whole group was like, if you assholes cross the streams, it's the worst thing that can happen. And as soon as there was a problem, he's like, I don't know, fuck it, cross the streams. I mean... We already
what have you got to lose?
Why are we crossing the rules? We know what works. Specky CU. You know how we know? We got a proof of concept. We're not flying by night just being like, I don't know, cross the streams. We're like, right over there, that series that we also own, totally making a Specky CU made that shit dope. And they're like, nah, not gonna do that.
Nah, that doesn't sound good.
So the reason
that sounds shitty.
So unfortunately, the ECU is not on the concession parts list. So it's essentially, so we're sticking around with the same software and ECU rules that we had last year, which was that the factory teams have to distribute their software to the satellite and privateer teams like 2 or 3 times a year, but they can lock it down. Like, they can literally make data tables like read-only or invisible and just give them like some baseline setting. So, and we all know how that, well, we don't all know.
I feel like the real conspiracy here is the reason these guys aren't locking it down is all these bikes computers are actually Bitcoin mining rigs. And
Dorna's making a shit ton of money off it.
So Bitcoin just hit 10,027, and the reason these things are not closed is these are fucking Bitcoin mining rigs galore. They're traveling around the world mining Bitcoin. You can't trace it. You can't pay taxes on it. You can launder your fucking heroin money on it. I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense, because nothing you said, Rob, makes fucking sense. I don't even know what you were saying. I mean, like, okay, Copernicus, you're telling me the fucking world is round, but I see the sun moving across my sky. Like, You're wrong. Like, this makes no fucking sense at all. Like, how can we make a production series simplified and competitive? Let's add a whole chart full of fucking data points to cross-reference. This is as complicated as fucking doing your taxes and itemizing your deductions. I mean,
worse.
Jesus fuck, it's worse.
We just lost six listeners' taxes.
Six listeners, yeah, exactly. But luckily, with the Veronica honeypotting story, we gained quite a few listeners, so we can bleed a couple and be okay. I mean, this is fucking insane. I don't even know what's going on.
There are some legit problems with it, right? Like, we know that these concession parts are going to do absolutely nothing to slow Kawasaki down, right? They're still going to win. Like, Johnny Rea didn't need a new swing arm last year to beat Chaz Davis, right? He still beat him regularly.
But let's be real. Chaz Davis beat Chaz Davis.
Yeah, that is true. But so that's the other problem too, right? Is now if Chaz Davis continues to beat Chaz Davis, Ducati can't really fix it because they'll be number 2 in the whole tier of everything. So they likely will be close to Kawasaki in concession points, so they won't be able to update their stuff. They can't go out and produce 5 swing arms to fix something, right? They can only make at most one.
If you want to make a rule set that the number 2 can catch the number 1 guy, making a performance like making something that will be detrimental to performance is not good, because that inherently punishes the number 2 guy more than number 1, because the number 2 guy is competitive and almost there but not quite.
Exactly.
So he's always going to take those hits harder than the number 1 guy who is there and is just backing off. And we saw this. Melandri said these rules have crippled the Ducati. Xavier Forés literally just like randomly spoke to Evan on Twitter and was like, these are terrible. Like, I agree that they're hitting the rev limiter in the middle of turns. And the idea that we would reduce revs or control revs when we have a series that's supposed to be making all different kinds of bikes. Like, all revs are not created equal. Despite the fact that I have a dream that all revs are created equal, they are not. The revs on a fucking 2-cylinder bike are not the same as the revs on a 4-cylinder bike. It's not the same thing.
To be fair with that, like, that is adjustable, and they can even still change it before the beginning of the year. Right, like they didn't.
Oh man, so these rules can be changed again? They weren't complicated enough.
So
asterisks into that one.
Asterisks on all these rules. Fucking the rules literally say that they can change at any time. Like the rule making body, the FIM can change.
But the Oracle
disclaimer
also said Neo was the one, and then just like said he wasn't, and then the Oracle was just a totally different black lady at one point. I mean, the fact that we can just randomly change shit doesn't make stuff more concise. It makes it more confusing.
Yeah.
And anytime things are more confusing, it's easier to cheat, and it's also harder for the lower spec teams to come on up.
Yeah, but so if we're talking about saving factory Ducati, there's still a chance. I am saying there's a chance.
Right. But, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
What was all that 1 in a million talk?
There you go. Finally you got it. Yeah, I mean, there's some other problems too, right? Like, we know that BMW and Aprilia don't give a shit about World Superbike anymore, so even if they're allowed to make new concession parts to make their bike better, they probably won't.
Are they going to?
Yeah, they might not. Like, MV probably will, because they seem to be somewhat devoted, and they blow motors, and they have technical problems, so they have to make new things. But now they can make less things, assuming they score some concession points. Or even if they don't score any, they can only update stuff once in the year. There's another asterisk rule about new factories can update one other time during the year at the FIM's choice. What else is there? There's even more stuff. Like, obviously, because of homologated concession parts.
Look, here's the deal, Rob. I gotta cut you off. I'm dying right now, bro. I'm 2 seconds away from purposely drinking the wrong cup in the Holy Grail room with that old-ass night just to fucking die already. By the way, why did that guy age if he was drinking the Holy Grail? It either gives you immortality or it doesn't. Extra slow mortality, by the way, is still mortality. It's just extra slow. It either gives you eternal life or it doesn't. If you age, that shit ain't eternal, dog. But like, I gotta cut you off and go to listener question because this guy needs to know, do you think Rea would do well in GP? He kills it in World Superbike and he ain't even trying, and his laps at Jerez were insane.
Wait, you didn't even let me talk about Spec ECU though.
You didn't even get
I hate you so much, Rob.
I mean,
Come on.
the best part, Kev, that whole thing was basically our version of a satire. That's what's kind of unfortunate.
Right.
Sorry, Rob. I hate to
I
tell
know.
you.
Right.
I want to say one thing
we
about.
were being serious.
He was so excited.
I'm gonna say one thing about Spec ECU. When all these fucking rules came out, including the rev limit, Dorna pretty much said that if this shit doesn't work this year, we are doing Spec ECU, and apparently the factories agree to that. So I'm totally fine with not watching World Superbike for a year to get Spec ECU in 2019. Unfortunately, they already fucking took my money, even though my credit card expired and I expected them not to be able to charge me. They still got my money. I'm pissed off about it.
I want to know something for us. How's that legal? How can you actually charge something and say, hey, if you don't tell us not to, we get to charge you? I don't even understand how this works.
He checked the box.
Lobbyist.
That I gave you my information once doesn't mean you get to indefinitely fucking charge me unless I say otherwise, assholes.
It works it works for 24-hour fitness.
Right, where it works for Planet Fitness, which is a judgment-free zone. Well, I'm judging you guys right now. Right, I mean, World Superbike's video pass is a scam in and of itself, but I don't understand how Dorna can actually physically, like, say, hey, guys, if you don't, like, respond to this email in the next 8 minutes, we gonna charge you full price, and then charge $1 for Black Friday. I mean, fuck you up your fucking Herpy Marquez face, man. Like, for real.
The Black Friday was only $1 for off-season, but yeah, you paid full price for the whole... Actually, you didn't pay for it. Did you do that? You didn't do the World Superbike Pass.
What? Fuck those guys. I didn't pay for shit.
Yeah, I know.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
All right, you guys start with listener questions. I gotta go do the thing with the thing. I gotta go piss.
Oh, you got a thing with a thing. He's got to fucking shake it twice.
At least.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy, he's gonna play with it.
Right. I mean, he's gonna play the, I mean, here you go. I can ask Everett with knowing his answer, but I am Jake Ryan wants to know who's our silly season vote for next year's title contender.
Yeah, well, Marc Marquez.
Right. I mean, Everett's going to do what I do with Ray in GP, which is just say Marc Marquez every year. And he's up on money right now. He bet $50 every year. He only lost money once. He's still up $150. I mean, he's good to go.
I'm flushing hobo dollars.
Yeah, exactly. If
there was a hobo casino, I would be a high roller.
I'm coughing like a motherfucker right now. Sheepio 92 just started following MotoGP in the 2016 season. Which season should I watch between now and March? I mean, you gotta watch 2006, bro. Shit was fucking balls nutty. I mean, just watch 2006.
Yeah.
Because everything else, 2004 was dope, but it was dope in context to 2003 with Valentino. Just watch 2006. It's insane. The fact that Kenny Roberts on a custom framed Honda was on the podium and fighting for wins it was totally nutty. Anything could happen. Who knows?
Yep. And then obviously last year.
Yeah, I mean, one guy wants to know how Spies totally fucking baited us for a month, only to announce that he's returning to GNCC.
Yeah, let me
we gotta talk about this.
Let me hit that real quick. I've already told you. My wife and I'm 36. I race club motorcycles. I have a day job. I do not have millions of dollars. My wife and I, when I retire,
Everett is breaded up, though. Don't get Everett wrong.
When I retire,
he's a heck of a salesman.
When I retire, my wife and I talk about renting our house out, like VRBOing it, and then buying an RV and driving it around the nation for like 6 months. That's our retirement goal, quote unquote. This motherfucker.
You can go with
this
Ben
motherfucker is doing that, except he's going GNCC racing in his spare time. That is so fucking retirement.
Retired from racing, got his wife pregnant, and then thought the miracle of life was going to be so perfect and a blessed union and everything's fucking Care Bears and rainbows. And 18 months in, he realized it's a never-ending fucking tidal wave of shit and crying and lack of sleep. And he convinced his wife that he was going to return to racing. I mean, this bitch is trying to get out of the house. You know what I'm saying?
That is pretty clutch though, because that's a hard convincing to do.
It's a hard sell, no doubt.
Yeah,
I mean, he had to convince her, and so he said like, "Well, hey, I'm talking to Ducati. I'm talking with fucking Yamaha. I didn't get to make as much money as 2006, so I'm just gonna go ride KTM's that I bought."
Honey dicked his own wife. That's fucked up.
Fuck right. I mean, straight up honey dicked her solid, because she went from he's gonna get a job to he's buying some new motorcycles. You know what I mean? This guy's like, I gotta get some sleep. And the best sleep he's gonna get is in the back of a camper in Tennessee somewhere for a non-televised race in which he's racing against other dudes with 4-year-old and 5-year-old kids and dudes' grandpas and shit. I mean, what the fuck? He's gonna ride a 300cc two-stroke like this is 1993 in the AMA. What in the hell is going on?
We
this
got
is the
honey
GP
potted.
winner.
We got honey potted.
Right.
It was straight honey pot. Everyone did.
Yeah.
I mean, Everett. Look, man. I don't have kids. Everett has some beautiful children that feeding goats on Instagram. It's the cutest thing ever. But I'm thinking those that first year, the lack of sleep is rough, right? I mean, it's brutal.
Oh yeah.
And
The first 6 months is pretty bad. Yeah.
The first 6 months. And Spees thought it was going to be like everything Facebook says. It's going to be beautiful. They're going to take pictures. And he's got his hands on his chick's like fucking fat gut. And he's thinking it's all good. Then she shits that kid out solid. And he realizes it's just a maelstrom of dump and crying. And Gerber food don't smell good. Right? I mean...
No. Baby food's bland as fuck. It's disgusting.
Right. And
you gotta make it yourself.
And he's thinking he's got to get out the house.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
I like how we come into it with Ev talking about an RV and his retirement plan. I was like, oh, he can go hang out with Ben Spees, not even knowing that you're fucking talking about Ben Spees.
We were literally talking about, because like basically one of our listeners wanted to know about Ben Spees fucking baiting us for a month only to announce that he bought a couple of bikes and he's going to privately run the GNCC Enduros.
Yeah, we got totally. That was bad. That was real bad. We got our hopes up.
I thought
it
would have something to do with some kind of, knee on the ground type racing. Nope.
But he can't go fucking race Wera. Like that would he has to do something other than what he's amazing at,
Yeah, so he clearly wasn't going to World Superbike again. He clearly wasn't going to GP again. He didn't want to do the travel. That's my point. He's retired. He's truly retired, old man.
What do you mean he didn't want to do the travel?
Dude, he hates the travel.
None of those races are fucking west of the Mississippi, bro.
Oh, really?
No, he hates the travel. He hates the travel. So his only option was Moto America, and they wouldn't pony up. So this was his fucking backup plan.
I mean, Ev, you were back in the day. Remember when, like, everyone said, why doesn't he join GP or Superbike? And the big talk was, he don't like flying. He's borderline afraid of it. He hates flying. Like, flying is like, he drove around and did fucking AMA in a motorhome with his mom.
With his mom, yeah.
You know what I mean? With his fucking mom. Like, that's how much the dude disliked flying, that he thought spending 24/7 with his mom was a better idea. Don't get me wrong. I love my mom, but my mom needs to be in metered doses. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, my mom is the shit, don't get me wrong, but it's got to be meter doses. I need a little time off. If you were hanging out with your mom 24/7 for months at a time, you really don't like planes. You fucking hate planes.
RV. Yeah, I don't think I could do 3 days with my mom in an RV. I don't think it would happen.
I mean, you ever taken a dump in an RV bathroom? Those walls might as well not exist. I'm not trying to hear my mom take a fucking diarrhea dump. You know what I'm saying? And Ben Spees heard his mom just duking it up, and he was like, still better than flying. Still better than flying. And, you know, so... I don't know what we're talking about. Other than this dude don't like travel, so he joined the least travel national series there was.
Exactly. All right, moving on, Kev. Pick us another one.
Yeah. Ducati bro, fucking Jorge's still playing volleyball. So, if y'all follow the Instagram stories, like, Iannone's posting weird shit with his bros working out and weird, like, from the butt angle of his friend in his underwear doing squats and all this. But that still wasn't as weirdly gay as Lorenzo's all-male bro vacation, where he's only posting shots of them playing volleyball that were, like, even farther across the spectrum than the Top Gun scene. I mean, those guys were, like, flexing like Slider and hitting the shots and not even... And it was so bad that not even one of them was pulling the goose and wearing the cutoff shirt. You know what I mean? Like, Goose was the only one with the cutoff shirt in that scene. They're just, like, playing volleyball for 3 days straight. I mean, I don't even know how much volleyball you can play and how sweaty you have to be, but it was just like a pack of sweaty Spaniards playing volleyball for like 3 straight days.
I feel like that's just, like, a thing, right? Like, that's how they do.
No? Yeah. Volleyball is pretty hard to play in the sand, too. I don't know. Especially in jeans. I don't think I could do that for 3 days. The chafing alone would stop me.
Yeah, exactly.
Title of Rob's sex tape?
The chafing alone will stop me. Title of Rob's sex tape.
We've gotten so good at it that he's doing it himself to himself. It's awesome.
It's not even it's a thing now. It's not even. I don't even take it personally anymore.
It's just a thing.
I shouldn't have said that because you're going to stop.
A significant number of people do want us to do a 90% only Andre Iannone episode.
Yeah, which we will never do a 90% only Jorge.
No, fuck you! I'm going
to
do it. Here's the problem. We changed the way we record, so we all record our own individual files. And then Rob thought this was a great idea. That instead of editing one file, he would edit 3 different files and then like combine them. So I can actually do an Andre Iannone monologue and just continually send it to fucking Rob until he does something with it. He can't stop me. I'm like the Terminator. I don't eat. I don't sleep. I will never stop. I will send Iannone episodes until the cows come home. I'm like fucking the Skynet of Iannone episodes.
Kev, I was saying that we'd never do a Jorge volleyball episode. We will definitely do.
Oh, okay.
I will allow you to do a Iannone episode. Can't even get it out. All right, yeah,
You can't even get it out. Title of Rob's sex tape.
There it is.
Shit.
Nailed it.
Next.
Had to get a natural.
So the Instagram fans are y'all nasty. Y'all want to know about herpes and Iannone's gay Instagram.
That's your fault.
Our Facebook fans are a little more on the level.
That's because their friends and family see that shit. They know.
Yeah, exactly.
They know.
Right? Their fucking mom sees what they posted. That shit posts up. Julian Caminini wants to know why there's so much hype around Rossi's new ugly helmet. I thought it was kind of cool, although I didn't think it's different. It's interesting. It's different. And here's the thing: I didn't realize it was like Mexican beads, Everett. Like that's what everyone's saying.
I thought it was those little ones that kids play with and they melt with the iron. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You make the little star. Right?
Sorry for being an American. My bad.
And then you fucking glue them together. You heat them up and they kind of like melt. That's what I thought too. I'm like, oh shit, that guy knew what I was doing when I was 8 at summer camp.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I thought too. And then I still didn't know they were Mexican beads or whatever. And that's kind of, I'm scratching my head. Why does Rossi care about Mexican beads?
I don't think it matters. All I thought about was how fucking long did some dude take to paint that helmet?
That's
all those circles are very concentric. Like
it's all it's not. It's like when I worked at Suomi. It's not painting. It's they actually lay the graphics with basically like really thin. It's almost like tissue paper. That's how they're doing this these days. So I'm sure they printed it, laid it down, and then or used maybe some kind of a vinyl wrap even, and then heated it up and then laminated over it.
I mean, I've got a vinyl wrap helmet, which is just straight up sticker material, and it looks good when you're on the motorcycle.
That's what I'm saying.
That's when you're on the motorcycle. This is what
that's all that matters. Does it look good in IG posts? That's all that matters.
This is the guy doing Valentino Rossi's helmet. He's going to be pretty good at whatever the fuck he's doing.
That's very true. It's like it's been the same guy for like a decade or something. Or probably more than that now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually have a pretty funny comment I want to go over real quick, and this is going to lead me into my morning. But Nick Souza wants to know how Sam Lowe's finished 25th on points when there was only 23 full-time riders. That's a great fucking question. And to answer that question, you can go to our Instagram stories for the next 12 hours and notice that when I walked by a mobile home on fire this morning, I parked my car to go to work, and there was a mobile home on fire in the middle of a parking lot with no context, just ablaze in flames. I grab my phone, and the first thing I think is, what rider am I going to blow up? I'm going to video this, and I'm going to tag it how Marquez's lip feels right now. Or I'm going to tag it Sam Lowe's GP career. Or I'm going to tag it Dorna's fucking rules for fucking World Superbike. All I can think of when I see this fucking vehicle on fire is everyone safe? Is everyone okay? Is it going to fucking explode in my face? Which GP rider am I going to put on blast on Instagram right now? That's the fucked up world that I live in. Because it was easy. Sam Lowe's, because he finished 25th out of 23 riders.
Damn. Yeah,
that's rough.
He got beat by a KTM too. Oh well, I know. Yeah, never mind.
That's
he almost got beat by. He almost got beat by Nakasugo. Who only did one race.
Who?
Somewhat, yeah. Yeah. Next.
Hold up, real quick, Kev. Let me take this one. Oh no! Now here I'm struggling through this. I'm trying to find the guy's post about the. He was asking about Austin. And
okay, what about it?
And the Austin rounds. Well, it's Jackaloo 626, and I just wanted to tell him that when you go to Austin, I've been there a few times. I personally don't think you need to buy a grandstand ticket. I think you could just buy general admission and roam around, and then you can sit in turn one. My philosophy anytime I go to a GP is sit where you can sit for free, but make sure you sit somewhere where there's one of those big screen monitors in front of you, and that way you can still see the action at any given turn, even if the action's not at the turn you're sitting at. That's my pro tip.
Right.
Next.
I want to amend your pro tip a little bit. Under any normal year, Everett's advice would be 100% correct. But 2018 will not be a normal year. Because 2018 will be the year that Maverick learns he got catfished by yours truly. So, we're all going to sit together, and we're all going to have little cards under our seats. And right when the screen goes by, we're going to hold those cards over our head, and it's going to be a giant catfish. And no one will know what the fuck we're doing, except for all the people that listen to this, and they're going to be laughing their fucking asses off, because y'all, that will be the signal to the worldwide audience that Maverick sent me dick pics. So Everett's answer is 100% correct under normal circumstances. But 2018 will be the race that Maverick finds out, y'all, that bitch got dumped.
We can make some catfish t-shirts, some mugs, some stickers. Exactly. We got all that swag.
Right.
Adam
we will
Kelly
have that
wants
swag.
to know who picks up the most STDs this offseason. I don't know who's going to pick up the most, but I'm going to tell y'all assholes who's in the lead.
Well, yeah, but I can tell you, it's a race between two people, and one, it's the understudy. Rins is probably hanging out with Iannone now, I hope, and that means he's highly at risk because he just doesn't know what he's getting himself into. And then two, Jack Miller and those Aussies, those boys are dirty, so he's going to be up there.
Y'all are dirty.
They are, dude. They are.
But I feel like Alex Marquez is already in the lead because he doesn't have someone to teach him the ropes. And he's just making stupid mistakes.
We don't talk about Alex Marquez. He's not a GP rider, dude.
But that's a good point. Yeah.
Technicality.
Not yet.
He technically counts because he rode the bike during testing and was
I knew you were going to say that.
He counts. Dude, he counts because he has herpes on his face right now.
Yeah.
He's in the conversation,
not
so to speak.
clear up yet. That is 8 to 12 days. Don't ask me how I know, but that is 8 to 12 days.
Does your girlfriend know about this shit?
Oh shit, dog.
That was fucked up.
So, I mean, I do love that the questions we get are pretty good, you know what I mean? Why is Ray such a beast? Bassam wants to know. It's a pretty good question. Because he rode the fucking shitty-ass Honda for so long, he cut his teeth on having to override a bike, and now he has a bike he doesn't have to override.
Suffering. The suffering makes you stronger.
Can I say it in any different way? I mean, would he be a beast on the MV this year or last year?
No.
Like, could he take the current Honda to race winning performance?
No.
Yeah.
No. Stop stretching.
I mean, it's fucking the perfect
probably
storm.
Not even the Ducati. The Kawasaki is at peak world superbike. So you know what? Like,
yeah. If we switch Davis and Ray between the Ducati and the Kawasaki, I think we'd have a great battle for the title. Or Sykes would just take the whole thing, and we'd be fucking pissed off.
Davis might be able to keep up with Ray. I think that guy's pretty talented too, personally. But
except for the fact that before you told us how Davis beat himself in the title, which we completely agree
he's
on.
got the speed, but we've talked about this. He had to ride the Ducati at 105% every time, whereas Ray was riding 99% the whole time and still competitive and consistent.
Yeah,
you're gonna crash more riding over the limits. It's that simple.
I mean, Davis didn't even. I feel like Ray didn't do as good this year, but Davis last year or in 2016, right? Davis won practically the second half of the whole season, and he wasn't able to repeat that form in 2017.
Right, but he came in this year with really high expectations, so he went really hard and kept going really hard. And then he had a few crashes, got a little bit hurt a few times.
Yeah, got run over by Johnny Rea.
Yeah, 105% effort every time, plus high expectations, plus it's a bad recipe for an outcome of a championship. It's just
so the answer is Johnny Rea is not as much of a beast as you think he is. It's Kawasaki that's really the beast, but he still's a beast.
He is a top talent. Here's where it would get really interesting is if you swap Sykes onto the Ducati and put Davis on the Sykes seat. Then you'd see some real shit.
Oh, if they were shit. Yeah, that would be fun.
My day.
It's never going to happen.
No,
it's never going to.
Because they don't want that to happen.
Nope. They want one winner. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Kevin, where'd you go?
I'm right here. I was listening to you guys I was listening to y'all rap about Davis and fucking Ray. What are you talking about?
He doesn't want to talk about Superbike. He doesn't have energy for that.
No, he's done with it.
He's so done. Yeah.
Brian Massey wants to know if cold sores can turn into real herpes. That's a trick question. Cold sores are herpes.
Yeah, that is true.
Trick question.
This is true. Dr. Kevin.
It's a trap.
Cold sores are herpes. Y'all got a cold sore. Y'all were kissing some nasty bums at one point. Stop making out with homeless people.
You said bums, and I thought the wrong one.
Bums.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Next.
So, some epic silly season talk that I'll be honest, I have no fucking idea how to pronounce this guy's name. Gia Mishalanafia Vev. Fuck, I have no idea. He wants to know who will likely end up in KTM in 2019. KTM sort of openly stated they're looking at Zarco. There's some rumors that Red Bull really wants Marquez there. And then KTM did the classic I'm running for president by saying that I'm not running for president, but I'm starting a political action committee to see about it. Like, first of all, assholes, anyone who thinks that a team doesn't want Marc Marquez is full of fucking shit.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wants Marc Marquez. Every team would take him in an instant. And don't give me this, if he wins, it's because of him, and if he doesn't, it's because of the bike. Marquez delivers you wins and a title within the second year. This is not Jorge, who has a hyper-specific style that only works with Yamahas under ideal conditions. Marc Marquez wins the title on a Yamaha this year, and Marc Marquez runs away with the title on a Ducati this year. And I think at some point, any competitor needs to feel pushed, and if he wins the title again, he's on the fifth one, it's Repsol Honda. At what point do you say, I need to do something else?
I can't see Marquez going to KTM though at this early in their
not yet. Yeah,
in their career.
Give it a year or two more when he's just kind of out of love with Honda and the
Well, will he be out of love with Honda? Right? Are they gonna shit the bed and tell everyone that it was
slowly,
the bike?
What's happened since Marquez is gone? Everyone that was instrumental in him being there is slowly leaving. Nakamoto's gone. Supo's gone. In a year or two, Marquez is going to be that guy who looks around the fraternity and realizes he's been in college for 6 years, not 4, and who the fuck are all these freshmen who are fucking doing whippets? I don't even know these guys. Like, I mean, at some point, Marquez looks around and realizes that Honda ain't the Honda he thought it was. And I don't care what anyone says. You are loyal to people, not fucking companies. And, dudes in foxholes and wars are there because they're there to help their brothers and their friends get through it. You ain't there because you love Honda. You were there because you were part of the team. And at some point, that team is all slowly gone and you're the last guy there. I mean, at some point you move and find a new you want a new group to be a part of. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves after next year.
Damn. If he wins the title. If
he
doesn't win, he'll have something more to prove and he'll definitely stay.
Correct.
Yeah,
but if he wins the title next year and he wins it convincingly, at some point you have to move on because if you want to be the greatest, and Marquez wants to be the greatest, you will never be better than Valentino, and you will never be better than Stoner. You will never be better than fucking Rainey if you do not win the title on more than one bike. You can't. You have to. That you cannot have the discussion about if you're the best there ever was if you rode for the same team for the same year the entire time.
And that's just bringing a factory their first title and a very new factory would definitely put you at the top of the GOAT list.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the timing might just be right because he's got to let that KTM mature a little bit, and then he's got to strike when the timing is right. And I think in 1-2 years, right? Let's see how they progress next year. But I think in 2 years they're going to really finally dial it in. So it could be.
They could screw themselves too, right? They could lose their concessions by doing well next year. And then they can have a tougher time.
But that's a telltale sign that they're on the right track when you lose them.
That's why they kept Smith, dog, because Smith sucks balls, and they know that he won't fucking fuck their concessions up. Can you imagine Marc Marquez on a team that gets concessions?
Yeah,
that's some fucked up shit. That's some fucked up shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That ain't right.
That'd be like the asterisk to his fucking title. It's like, oh, they won it with concessions.
Right,
yada,
and
yada,
it goes
yada.
to what Everett said. You cannot be the best if you didn't help resurrect a brand. Because look at Duhan. Duhan won 1 million fucking titles and was dominating and won so many races, but no, he never even comes up in the conversation on social media.
Not even
and it's
close.
not because guys don't know about him, because he didn't resurrect anyone. He didn't pivot and reprove.
Well, it's like Rea. It's the same concept, right? You've done it only on Rea's been on other bikes. You obviously were on the best bike at the best time, and it just wasn't even fair to anybody else. So it proves nothing. It just shows that you capitalized on what you were supposed to capitalize on.
The best bike in GP is only obvious to you, Everett, apparently. So I wouldn't go that far.
I think... Right. Look, okay, hold on. This is a great topic to debate. Is the best bike the bike... Hold on. Is the best bike on the grid the bike that's made for the person who can capitalize on that bike the best? Or the bike that's made for the lowest common denominator across multiple riders? That's the best average bike. I would argue the one that wins.
It's somewhere in between.
It's not in between, Rob. He's won twice in a row on what everyone else can't ride. So it tells me that his combination is better than any combination of the Ducati and other top-tier riders.
Certainly his combination is the best. That's a good question. Is the best bike on the grid the best all-around bike, or is the best bike on the grid the bike that's supremely connected to the rider that it's on?
Exactly.
If only Marc Marquez can ride that bike, does that make it not the best bike, or does that mean that Honda said, we are going to make the best bike for the best rider we have?
Right.
I
you
mean,
could easily
Jorge Lorenzo won multiple titles on a bike that other guys had a hard time riding, but for him was perfect.
Right. You could argue it's a pile of shit, but the brilliance and the genius in Marc Marquez is that he can make it work. I mean, the guy's crashing and saving it on his elbow. How many times? 28 was it, or 26?
27 crashes.
27 and a half. I was right around it, fucking bookending that shit. But that's my point, is he's clearly doing something very unique nobody else can do, yet the bike's a pile of dog shit.
So did Honda develop a bike that is so high-end that you have to have it's the best bike, but the problem is you have to have a certain skill that no one else has.
I honestly don't
there is
think
a
that.
talent factor, but
I think that Marquez is winning in spite of Honda. I honestly think
that is what I think in the end.
Yeah, I think
if he would have hold on. So
he would have won more. He would have won more handily if he rode the Ducati this year.
So if you put Marc Marquez on any other bike on the grid, he still wins the championship, or is it at least a championship
not
contender,
any other.
a strong contender?
If you put him on the Ducati, he still wins the championship, and he wins it by more points than he does this year. Than he did this year.
The Yamaha question is hard because they had some weird shit go on in the wet. And who knows what Marc Marquez would have done in the wet. You know, he is the master of flag to flag, but in full wet conditions, I'm not sure. That bike seemed to be kryptonite in the wet. I will tell you this with a lot of confidence. You put Marc Marquez on the Ducati, he wins the title on the Ducati.
Yeah. You put him on the Yamaha, not so certain. It seems like we all agree they lost their way this year. So you put them on the Yamaha, Dovi takes the title on the Ducati.
Global warming kicked Yamaha's ass this year. I mean, climate change fucked Yamaha. If you look at the stats, how many weekends were there when there was not a wet session in some shape or form? It's kind of actually crazy.
It was only two. It was only two.
Right.
It was
so if you have a bike that's fucked in the wet. I mean, think about this, Everett. Remember, 2001, 2002. I mean, me and Everett go way back on watching this. Rain races were relatively rare. Rain stuff was like that one time you might see something crazy happen. There was rain every fucking weekend. Every weekend this year.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It was like 2 or 3 races were the only weekends not affected by rain in some facet. Right. So if you have a bike that you accidentally fucked up and it's horrible in the rain, that throws a lot of stuff off. You basically are giving away time.
Yep. The best justification for climate change is the fact that one of the completely dry weekends was actually in Great Britain.
Right. The irony.
Yeah, right.
If you don't think climate change is real, Greenland has had a wildfire going for the last 7 months. Google that shit.
What? That's fucking...
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
damn.
So we're not going to get political because we always agree to that. But, if you have a bike, that's why I can't say Marc Marquez would have won the title in the Yamaha, because for some strange reason, the Yamaha simply did not work in the rain at all. And with the amount, the real question you're asking is, could Marc Marquez have won on the Honda if we threw away where he had no ability to do FP3 every weekend?
Ooh.
I'm not so sure. Right, because that's basically what Yamaha gave up a practice session 16 rounds this year
because of their wet sessions. Yeah, at least one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Back to the original question. KTM, Marc Marquez, and Oliveira in 2019 is legit dream team.
Yeah. No. That's real talk there. That's the only problem is 2 new guys on the bike is not necessarily the greatest idea ever. But Oliveira's a beast. He's from fucking Portugal, which I'm super into. And Marquez Oliveira is a solid team. I would not bet against that team. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't really think that... I think that Zarco is going to be honeypotted by Yamaha, like them kind of tempting him to stay. Maybe they'll give him more factory parts. Maybe they'll say, oh yeah, Valentino's for sure going to retire sometime soon. I don't think that KTM is going to be able to steal him away. So, and I don't see anyone else going there.
No.
Who else is going to go to KTM? Like, who are they going to work to get?
Oh, well, they got to throw some money at people too, right? They start throwing around 10 million euro like Ducati through Lorenzo. I mean, then people start.
Yeah, but who else are they going to throw money at? If they don't get Marquez, who are they going to throw money at? Are they going to throw money at Dovi?
No.
They're going to throw money at Danny so that
think...
Danny can be with Mike Leitner again?
Definitely not. Nope. Nobody over the hill. That's for sure.
That's the problem. If Danny has another 2-win year,
you're not spending $10 million on anything other than young proven talent. So it's got to be Vinales, Mark Marquez, maybe Iannone finds a new home again. He's technically younger proven talent.
Oh, but he's only going to leave if he shits the bed with Suzuki and has another terrible year, right? He won't go if he has a good year. He won't go looking to leave, and if he doesn't have a good year, KTM's not going to want him. Yeah,
I'm just thinking who's an eligible bachelor for that outfit. That's all.
Yeah,
I was just kind of.
I mean, next in my mind, KTM 2019 is going to be Pole and Oliveira. Like a guy that already knows the bike and has had a hand in development, and the new talent that they brought up from their
it could be Binder and Oliveira by then.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they don't want to do two rookies. They've mentioned KTM has outwardly said they think Binder is basically made for GP because of his late breaking style. But I think they move Oliveira up. I mean, Oliveira is the favorite for the title next year, in my opinion. I think after Oliveira wins it, or at least fights for it, they move him up and they give Binder the chance to fight for it and win for it. And then afterwards, they move him up again. I think the dream team is Binder and Oliveira, but they can't. KTM is methodical. I mean, I read a thing that said they're spending $50 million a year on a 5-year plan. So this is a methodical, well thought out plan. This is not something they're flying by the seat of their pants. I mean, that's why they didn't get rid of Bradley, because they're saying, wait, look, we're not deviating from the plan. Despite the fact that Kallio basically embarrassed Smith, they're just, look, we have a plan. The plan is flawless, and we are not deviating from the plan. Smith is part of the plan. That he sucks is just a small, wrinkle in the plan.
I still love your concessions. Like an idea that the Bradley's going to guarantee that they keep them.
Yeah. That's a conspiracy. I love it.
If the rules are there, game them. Game the rules. Game the system.
Right.
All right. Give us another one, Kev.
Okay, I got one more. Actually, I have two more. Introvert wants to know if we think 2018 will be Rossi's last season. Trick question. He's never retiring.
No, he'll go down to a 1-year contract before he retires. He's definitely not going to retire. He's just going to fuck everyone else up.
Unless he gets hurt, again, or something major like that happens. I mean, he's not going to consciously choose to get out of the series yet.
Yeah. Yeah, he tells us this every year, right? That he'll make his decision by the 7th round of the season or something. And last season he did quite well in the beginning of the year. This next season he'll probably have some flashes of brilliance, a couple of podiums, maybe a win, and it'll just keep that fire burning. Mm-hmm. God, I can't believe I said flashes of brilliance talking about Rossi.
Right, yeah. But honestly, Everett. No, but for real, because Everett is kind of known. He respects Rossi. He respects what he's done, and he's really come to admire him in his later years. But Everett's kind of always had an issue with him being in the right place at the right time every time. But the best thing that could have happened was Rossi having a slow fade with moments of brilliance. If Rossi were to simply leave, like say after 2015. When he was like the people's champ and kind of got robbed in some people's eyes, that would cast a shadow that maybe would be a problem for GP long term. Oh, the guy's not as good as Rossi, or the guy leaves. Like kind of like how everyone assumes Stoner would just win if he showed up, right? If a guy leaves without sort of slowly fading out, especially someone of the caliber of Rossi, that might cast too big of a shadow long term. For Rossi to remain competitive, but to ever so slightly lose the week out edge is good for GP long term, because it establishes the new stars by legitimizing them.
Not that we don't already have them
we talked about
with
that.
Marquez, but yes.
Yeah, we talked about how he was pretty irrelevant in the last race. They really didn't talk about him at all, and that was one of the first times I've ever seen that, where he was hardly mentioned throughout a weekend.
Is Dorna going to actively wean us off Rossi? Are they going to try?
That's what I'm saying. He is being actively weaning us off.
Oh God. I mean, good for the sport, because I don't want to see those TV viewership figures the year after Rossi retires. It's going to be bad.
It's going to be brutal.
I mean, look, we're talking on the side about doing some interviews with some European magazines, and I've heard that, you know, you have a Rossi on the front page of your magazine, instantaneous 30% increase in your sales.
Yeah, it's insane. It's ridiculous. But great.
Right.
But scary.
Ask them to boost our Instagram posts.
All right, last one.
Can we get a repost, Rossi? What the fuck, man?
Last one.
Right. Okay, Rob, I just sent you a message. Our man James Value Smarter sent us a message of what he wanted us to talk about, and it's randomly word association. I don't even know. So hit me with his words, and I'm giving you the first thing that comes to my mind.
All right. Do you want them in order, or no? I'm gonna do backwards order, because I'm not sure you read it.
Oh, you thought I was prepping this whole time? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right,
I'm ready.
Flower pots.
Flower pots are the dope. I got a lot. I have an odd love for gardening. See, odd Kevin knowledge. I like gardening. And you know what the best part about gardening is? If you talk to the plants, they like that shit. Plants like to get talked to.
Word association, not paragraph association. Elevator.
What? No, that's not how I do.
Elevator
okay,
music.
word association. Flower pots, fuckhole.
I thought it should be honey pots.
Not expected. Elevator music.
Doing it time.
Chairs.
Doing it place.
Blazing saddles.
Doing it too hard.
Hula hoops.
Doing it with style.
Unicycles.
Unicycles?
Yeah.
Doing it with balance.
Pluto.
Pluto's a real planet, goddammit. Why'd they gotta steal that shit away? That ain't ballin'.
Pluto's a dog.
What did Pluto ever do to
Pluto's
those
a
guys?
dog.
Right.
He's the Disney dog.
Koala.
What? Cute as fuck.
Koala.
Koalas are the best. For reals. Koalas are so cuddly, I want one.
I hear they're evil bitches.
Right, exactly. Just
Buddy-
like Veronica. Just like Veronica.
Buddy Holly?
Right. But planes are ballin'.
What? Walrus.
Buddy Holly died in a plane crash, asshole.
But why are they balling?
Because I was being sarcastic.
Okay.
The Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, they died in a fiery, hideous plane crash.
No, that's terrible. No, I didn't get it. Walrus.
Big ass tusks.
Nice. Popcorn.
You know what my favorite part of popcorn is, Rob? For real, it's not word association. I don't like popcorn. I like the half-popped kernels.
Me too. Those are the best ones.
Those are the shit.
Yeah.
Like, they don't hurt your teeth, but you gotta do a little work. Ah, fuck. Like, and when they're burned, like fucking Alex Marquez's lower lip, that's when it's so good. They're little burned, they're half popped, and you get that crunch. Oh, fuck. How can I make a whole bowl of half popped kernels? I don't want popcorn. I want the in-between.
So there's one thing, like snack food, that you can buy that has similar texture to half-popped kernels. Wasabi peas.
Wasabi peas are so fucking good.
Oh, I know.
They're so good.
Same texture, spiciness, but wasabi spicy, which is way better. And who knows? I don't even know if they're real fucking peas.
And at
they're
the
probably
chevrons on I-5, driving from Northern California to Southern California, they all have them.
Nice.
Rob knows because he recorded from a Chevron parking lot last episode.
I was not able to go inside because it was closed at 8 p.m. It was very fucking
fuck
scary.
That Chevron.
All right, last word association before we close this one out. Bradley Smith.
Sucks.
Perfect. That was so. What is this guy's name? Jams O Values Smarter. Thank you, Jams O Values. Jams O Values Smarter.
Instagram. Like, it goes back to what Everett said. The reason all our fucking Facebook comments are normal is because it's their names. And, like, their aunt sees everything they do, right? Like, their aunt is checking them out. You know what I mean? Like their aunt that has no kids, who's possibly infertile, who sits at the kids' table at Thanksgiving, and she sees all their stuff, and she's like kind of judgmental, but so also really nice, and like always wishes you happy birthday and sends you a Best Buy gift card. So you're like in a weird purgatory with her where you can't dislike her, you don't want to disappoint her, but you're kind of like over it. She sees the posts, but on Instagram, ain't no one sees that shit. So like, you know, ThunderCunt69 can just be your fucking screen name and no one cares.
That's perfect. I like this guy's photo too. He looks quite happy in his avatar photo.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Everyone go follow this guy, Jams. Jams. Damn, he's got a lot of... This asshole's got 12,000 followers.
Shit.
No, don't follow him. Fuck that guy.
He must do something important.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck
or at least
he does.
notable. I mean, for him not being female, having that many followers, that's pretty good.
He does personal and business goal-setting metrics.
Oh, so, hey, Jams, call us.
This guy,
call us up.
Hey, Jams,
we can use some help.
Shit.
All right, everyone. I have no idea how long this episode is. It's probably... This might be
it's like 2.5 hours.
It might be one of the longest ones yet, actually.
What I'm saying with the end of this episode is if you get a friend request from, like, I don't know,
what's Veronica's last name?
What would Veronica's last name be? I have no idea. Like, something, like, ambiguous. Like, Veronica James. You know what I mean? Like, she's, like, or something. If you get a Veronica something friend request, and she's got, like, 8 photos, and she's new, just like that shit. Just like it, okay? Just friends request her, hit her up on the wall, tell her, I would say, oh, so glad to have you back on the book. So glad that you're back. I hope that fucking Alex isn't still bugging you, or whatever the fuck his name is, and build it, right? We need to create the backstory of the jealous boyfriend who she had to get away from, make this shit real, because we're going to manufacture this title come hell or high water, because Lynn Jarvis can't do it. Yeah, that's right, Lynn Jarvis. I put you on blast on the podcast. You can't do it. You can't do it.
He tried. He failed.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
All
you
right.
will catch this tomorrow, and we will record in another 2 weeks or something. We got plenty of shit to talk about. We got to talk about Veronica. We got to talk about Iannone sex tapes. There's so much going on. It is winter. We're not going to take a break just yet. You will hear from us again.
Correct. Veronica out. Peace.